The following presentation does not represent Australian opinion or intellect. We do not speak for any religious order or ethnic minority. We are not political scientists or uni graduates. We're insignificant upper-lower class scum, comparing notes and airing grievances. It's just our opinion. Deal with it.
No way that GST will ever be part of our policy.
Never ever.
Never ever, it's dead.
If they don't like it, go back to where they're parking.
It is a
or
big
they're-
idea.
You know, we don't need them.
A new world order.
I was going to say, following up on last week, do you remember I was talking about in Greece there was that hostage situation in 98 about the grenade, and they just yeah. I looked it up. I actually wanted to know the details. It's the guy was a Romanian convicted murderer, escaped prison multiple times, and he was actually on the run when they grabbed him. He worked his way into an apartment block, took some family hostage, and he had this woman as the main hostage or whatever, and he had that grenade. The cops stormed the building, including the chief of police or something who was part of that negotiation as well. And the grenade went off and blew off her leg, her entire side of her body, all that sort of shit. So they nabbed him. She died 2-3 days later or whatever, and then that's when they pulled the pin on him, somewhere in the hospital. So yeah, that was
pulled the pin.
Yeah, pretty much, man. And I was just fuck, it was fucked up.
Full on.
What was the other one I was going to say?
I was thinking about what you said and people that just deserve to die. Still not pro death penalty, but
yeah, but you're switching sides, man. They haven't started.
yeah,
Slowly but surely we'll correct him.
Yeah, man.
So this 29-year-old guy murdered a Sydney sex worker.
When was this?
Yeah, in just New Year's Eve. He was just sentenced.
Oh yeah, I think I was reading about that.
Yeah, so he bashed her with her stiletto, then slit her throat with a razor blade.
Nice guy.
25 years.
Real catch.
Is that 11-year parole sentence? No non-parole period?
I didn't say. Oh, non-parole period of 25 years.
How old is the guy?
He's 29 years old.
So it'd be in his 50s,
fifty-four.
mid-50s when he gets out.
Yeah. But he's appealing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Appealing against his conviction.
On what grounds?
Probably because you can. He was only just sentenced, so he may be talking about it, but I doubt he'll get.
Do you remember
anywhere.
we said that on the first podcast, man, when Nick was talking about the guy from the 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Yeah.
And he stabbed his missus 100 times.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
And then I said, what a lunatic. How can you even appeal? On what grounds are you even appealing straight murder? I know you're big on it because you mentioned, well, not big on it, but you footnoted it last week when we were talking about taking away someone's rights to appeal. At what point do you just not give them the right to fucking appeal?
Yeah.
You have to, how much time, I don't know the numbers, but how much does it cost to go through that appeal process?
I have no idea.
It
But
costs.
you don't get the right to appeal. There is a process you have to go through. I think, new evidence, or you can, you have to have a reason.
You have to have a reason.
Yeah.
But like you said, this dude is already appealing.
Yeah. So,
What?
but so he was sentenced yesterday. So he's probably was sentenced today. So it could just be talk. So I said, I'm going to appeal this, but then, he gets to the first stage and the guy's nah, not going to happen.
Yeah, okay.
Go rot in a jail cell for
What could you
25
appeal
years.
on, really? Insanity or something? Or
So it's new evidence, insanity, sentencing.
voices told me to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just that shit that really, because it costs money and fucking time. And it just staggers the course of justice.
Yeah. And I was going to talk about this last week, but we didn't have time. There was a judge who came out and said that the sentencing requirements for at least Vic legislation is kind of ridiculous. So if you go to the Crimes Act, at least half of it is just sentencing.
Okay.
And the judges are having a really hard time, because it changes, it gets updated all the time, and the judges are basically saying, we can't do our job and keep up with all the legislation.
Yeah.
So they need to simplify sentencing.
That's always, I said to you, was it last week or the week before? I said everything just seems like it's so fucking complicated now, and just middlemen and bullshit and red tape everywhere.
Yeah.
Where they've lost the whole fucking point Like, it feels like we've just lost the point of, like, what certain things are for. Like, court was meant to just fucking adjudicate and decide what the fuck is going to happen to whatever situation.
Yeah.
Now it's like...
all this pussyfooting around.
Yeah, man. Like, tap dancing. Like, fuck. Like...
Yeah. And there's a really... So we were talking about deterrence a little bit last week as well. So increasing the penalty doesn't really deter people. The best thing you can do is make the punishment instantaneous. So, like, if you have to get someone through the court system, I mean, it takes a couple of months. It's not going to be as effective as just giving them a fine on the spot.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because then, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So, this guy murdered that girl in New Year's Eve this year, and he only just got sentenced. That's months away. Like,
we're in August.
Yeah.
So what's he been doing for, like, the last 8 months?
Yeah, just probably
chilling.
Sitting in a prison cell, probably.
Yeah, if he was refused bail or whatever,
Yeah.
like, the conditions are, no bail granted, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
I think he probably would have. I would hope that he stayed in jail for that time.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised. There was the guys that, 2 weeks ago or something, I mentioned it. There were 2 dudes up north that, fuckwits.
Yeah,
that raped and
were paroled.
Yeah, left, and they're bailed. Like, these guys are walking the streets, then they're on trial for, like, a murder, like, aggravated assault, murder, rape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen, but anyway. So that's beside the point. Like, we need to, I think, with my limited knowledge, that we should really focus on trying people as close to the date of the crime.
Like,
so, like, you're arrested and you turn up in jail the next day.
You know what that's like?
Turn up in court the next day.
That's like that movie In Hell, Van Damme. Right? Have you seen it, dude? No.
Great movie.
I wouldn't bet that you have seen it. I know you've seen it. Basically what happens is, like, in the opening 10 minutes, Van Damme comes home to, like, a break-and-enter, and his wife's been raped, and, like, confronts the attacker, chases him out in the street, gets a hold of him, they go to court, and then it's like Russian mafia criminal, and he gets off, like, and his lawyer's like, what the fuck? And his lawyer's like, they bribed the judge, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So then as the guy's walking out of the court, Van Damme just goes up to him and shoots him. And then next scene, he's just standing in front of the judge again, and like, heinous crime, you're going to jail for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like, as in literally, like, shot the dude, and they're like, well, instead of taking him to prison, we'll take you to prison now anyway.
Yeah, and that's a big problem with having, being able to afford really good lawyers, is that they can work their way through the...
Take their time.
Yeah,
and that's what I said about someone facing a domestic charge a couple, like, years ago. They had shit representation, couldn't afford anyone, and the guy just asked that up, and it was like assault. It was it was self-defense, but he ended up getting 2 years for assault, even though it was like self-defense, unprovoked. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's bullshit. Speaking of Van Damme, did you see what the thing was with his meltdown, like, a couple of weeks ago?
No, I didn't see it.
I know Arthur isn't interested in this. You just would have just gone over. I'm talking about Van Damme, talking about the poison in the water.
Did you see this on the news or something? Or?
Yeah. No, it happened like 2 weeks ago. The reason why it came to my attention, I'll give the back, like this morning, right? I was just lying on my couch, like taking notes or whatever. I was just flicking around, and I was just looking for something relevant on TV. What are the options for relevant TV besides watching the news? Like, as close as you can get to the news. Are there any forms of relevance? Think about it. Like, the actual real shit that's going on.
You mean like drama?
like current, like, news, man. Like, current news. What are your best options to be? Is ABC, have they got like 24-hour news or something?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, like there's...
ABC has a lot of good shows.
Yeah, but that's like the only current events that's constant sort of thing, yeah. I keep forgetting about ABC. Should go to
Channel 24, I think it is. Yeah,
yeah, some random offshoot.
Yeah.
So I was flicking around, and I was cleaning my house while I was sort of doing this and just getting notes together for today and all that. I was at my sink, and I could hear Ida Buttrose giving relationship advice in the background. Yeah, no shit. All right. Like, Ida Buttrose is telling someone to go on a date night or some shit. And I'm just like, I walked over and just fucking flicked it, like, down, whatever. And I got Sunrise. I think it was Sunrise. I'm pretty sure it was Sunrise. And Delta Goodrem was on. Right? Does anyone remember anything that Delta Goodrem's ever done?
She just released a new album.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, it's just these milestone, like, things every 5 years. Like, she's on The Voice. Is it The Voice or the other one? I've got no idea.
She's on The Voice, yeah.
Was she on Dancing with the Stars?
I don't know.
Probably.
Could have been.
That was Sonia Kruger.
Oh, dude, I don't
anyway.
know.
Everyone does around.
I just remember that first song she had. I was born to try.
Dude, you know what? I just sat there for like sorry man, I sat there for 2 seconds trying to watch it, and I realized why she fucking aggravates me. Forget whether she's talented or a personal history, because I can go at length about all of that, right? This is what actually aggravates me. Every time they were asking her a question, she would close her eyes in her answer and put her hand on her chest, like, oh, it's just so
heartfelt.
Yeah, she could be like, you know, I woke up in the morning, I just took a shit, and it was just the greatest moment of my life. Like, every single thing, every fucking point she makes, she has the eyes shut with the hand on the chest, right? I was just looking at her like, fucking get to the point, man, right? She's on a new show on Channel 9, on House Husbands or whatever. And like, okay, so you've crossed over to like another rival network from like, and she's talking about Neighbours, and I thought like the host would like cringe a bit because she's talking about like another show on another network, right? Anyway, I'm sitting there like trying to pay attention, but whoever they were interviewing her, and even that was just fucking like weak. I'm like, he's just asking bullshit. Like, get to the fucking point, right? And then I remembered the Van Damme thing. Dude, we were at work because I remember Archie and I saw it, and we're like, what the fuck happened, man? And we looked it up. Van Damme was in Bangkok wrapping up shooting like one of his movies, and he's coming here in like 2 weeks now. 2 weeks away from Van Damme.
I've seen the posters.
Have you? I haven't seen any.
He's got like a tux with a bow tie.
Oh,
except untied, you know. Because a little bit cash.
What a king,
Just
man.
a bit cash on the side.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It was they were interviewing him via like Skype or whatever. It was Kochi. Kochi was like interviewing him. And all I heard initially was meltdown by star, diva antics, Van Damme loses it, right? So I quickly pulled up my phone, just having a look at it, because me and Archie were like, what the fuck? So we're looking at it, and it said that he stormed off like a set of an interview, like he's just cracked the shits, ripped the mic off, like, see his cunts later, I'm not doing this, la la la. And then I read a bit into it, and they're just still pretty vague. They're like, oh, you know, he cracked it at one point, like, oh, it was my phone. It was just saying stuff like, I can't answer these. You know, I don't feel like let me just come. I'm too, you know, rough for this stuff. Like, I've got to just let me come down, do my thing. Like, you know, can you ask me something interesting? This is fucked. And they wrote him off as just like, oh, diva, you know,
Spoiled
tantrum, yeah, fucking nut job actor, whatever. But then when I looked into it, what set him off was a question about Kylie Minogue, right? Now, I don't know if Johnny might know this, but Arthur won't. Apparently, he had his affair when he was filming Street Fighter with Kylie Minogue. Like, he was banging her on, like, you know, offset. Yeah. So,
Of course he was.
Kochi, like, the most relevant thing they have to ask this man is, so what was it like working with, like, Kylie Minogue? Like, the movie was 20 years ago.
Yeah, and Kylie Minogue is sort of Australian.
Yeah. That's, like, these idiots did their homework to interview this fucking action star of, like, all time.
Who's done like a million movies since then.
Yeah. And that's what they found relevant.
Yeah.
And it pissed him off. He's like, man, like, I'm sick of asking these questions. Like, can you ask me? Like, yeah, he's like, I like Kylie. Like, I like everyone. Like, ask me something fucking relevant. Dude, like, seriously, man. And I was like, no wonder. You got these starchy fucking stuffy old fucks.
That's such a Koshi thing to ask.
Dude.
Typical Koshi right there.
Yeah. And then they're asking Delta Goodrem, like, oh, yeah, so what was it like? You've got an album. Like, man. Like, are they just following some teleprompter, like, of just garbage?
Yep.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And then, like, they made Van Damme look like a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
Like, ask him about the Expendables. What was it like working with Stallone finally? You know, like,
something.
So many more questions, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just started laughing because I was thinking of the thing.
Yeah, anyway.
So true. So
it's,
true.
It's fucking rubbish, man. Oh, have you seen what's going on with Bali? Bali.
No.
Have you seen? You haven't heard nothing? This is what, actually, I wouldn't mind getting, but yeah, your opinions on this would be actually pretty good. Bali, Indonesian government right now is in talks about passing a legislation to ban the sale of alcohol. Like, as in going
Bali.
full fundamentalist, you know, like the way it is in the UAE and stuff, where you can't buy booze out in public and all that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all
Because that's always worked so well in the past.
yeah, dude, they are all up in arms.
But Bali though, like,
Yeah, hang on. This is why it annoyed me, right? This is why it fucking annoyed me, yeah? Because they're all up in, and it's not the Balinese are coming out saying it's going to kill, like, you know, it's going to kill the industry, right?
Yeah.
Like, the locals are already starting to say, fuck, like, you can't do that because it's going to be, they said they're going to limit it to like 0.05% alcohol. Like, if the drink has got more than 0.05%, like something stupid, like, you know, minuscule amount of booze in it, they're going to ban it, right? And the locals have started coming out saying, look, you can't do that because we rely on that, la, 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 la.
What pissed me off are the Aussies that are coming out saying you can't do that.
That's our holiday destination.
Dude, some bird, like on the same travel show, like on the same show, like some bird is like, her name's Georgia Ricard or something. I've written down, Squid, it's a travel expert, or I don't know what her actual position is. You know, Google it, right? Her whole thing on like, when they've said to her, what do you reckon? She's like, look, there is nothing wrong with coming, like, you know, going on holiday and having a drink to unwind, la 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 la. It's the Australian culture and like it's going to kill the tourism. You can't do that, la la la. And I just laugh because I'm like, yeah, you're right. It is part of the Australian culture, but it's a Muslim country and it's their legislation. If they feel it's wrong to drink alcohol, then that's it. It's wrong for them in their country.
What does a beer cost in Bali?
Nothing, man. Like $1.
$1, yeah.
Fuck all. So you take $20 and you're smashed.
They should take a page out of our book and just put 100% tax on it. At least that way, if Australians are going to go to Bali, like paying an extra $1 for a beer isn't going to.
Yeah.
It's not going to kill the tourism industry. And you know how much money would the government make if they were taking an extra $1 per beer?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wouldn't even have to be that high. It could be an extra 50 cents.
Whatever.
So what are their reasons for it? Like,
I think because of like the scene that it's created, like in Bali, like, you know, just
that trashy,
fucked up tourists, like getting smashed and what it does to the thing and whatever, man. Like it's a Muslim country, man. Like the UAE, like there are countries all over in the Middle East that, you know, ban the sale of booze. Yeah. Like that's it. And what made me laugh was just that the bird was like, oh, it's the Australia. There's nothing wrong with drinking alcohol on your holiday, and they, you know, surely they even if they pass it, they'll have to at least leave it open in Bali. It's like, no, you don't get to. You don't get to say.
Just totally thinking how it affects Australians.
Yeah, you do not get to say. Yeah. You don't get to say. Like they should not be consulting with Australians on what the Indonesian government's going to do in their own fucking backyard.
But no more migrants.
How many 100 million people live in Bali? I mean, in Indonesia, and it's like, yeah, but how does this affect the white people? The 20 million people who, if they're lucky, will end up in Bali like once in their life.
Mm.
Yeah.
How does this affect me?
Yeah. I just, the balls behind the tone in her voice, it really annoyed me. She's like, there's nothing wrong
just
with
like it's her right. Like, no.
There's nothing wrong with having alcohol on a holiday. Yeah, maybe not for you, but for like fundamentalist Muslims, yeah, there is something wrong. They don't drink alcohol. And they don't need to cater to fucking rednecks flying in that want to get fucking shit-faced. Like, they can because they can make money off it, but then they'll, like, you know, if they jack the prices, it'll be like, oh, yeah, they're raising it. It's impossible for us to go on holidays. Go on holidays somewhere else, you fuckhead.
Yeah. Yep.
And you know what, man? People go to fucking Europe. People fly to Europe for holidays. People fly, like, all over the fucking world, man. Sorry, your little fucking cheap playground, you know, is like shutting shop because they don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
How dare they?
No, I'm serious. I don't know. It's
No, good point, man. Totally.
fucking stupid idiots, man.
It's silly, but
Dude, if they want to ban booze, like, let them ban booze.
Yeah.
It's their choice. Yeah. And they said that it'll increase the rise of, like, bootleg moonshine stills and shit, like people making, because that kid died at the start of the year. He had, like, methyl. They had some,
I saw that. Yeah. The old man gave him the wrong batch or whatever.
Some shit.
His son, and it killed him.
Yeah, he had some fucked up booze at the start of the year and he died. Like, okay. Yeah, they'll increase fucking moonshine stills. Okay.
They'll do what they have to do.
Then that's something else to regulate. Like, but if their first standing legislative move is just like, we're banning booze, okay, well, that's it. You, as an Australian, do not get to fucking say what they can and can't do.
no.
But they forget it. I don't know.
It's our right.
No, you're right.
It's our right, Dimmy.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
People getting upset because they can't go to Bali and buy cheap beer.
Yeah, no shit. Like, it's so fucking unheard of, man.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing, man, because if you took away Bali, like, where would you go? Like,
Thailand? Laos?
yeah.
Vietnam?
I suppose they'd have to, wouldn't they?
Yeah. But where would you go? You go anywhere.
The thing is, like, a ticket to Bali is like $150. Yeah, if you get the right day.
Oh, yeah, man.
It's dirt cheap.
Jetstar, like, no luggage,
Yeah.
like, booked in 8 months advance. It's like fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Cheaper than a flight to Sydney. Yeah, heaps of people go, man. Just like, yeah. And that's the thing. People go to, like, Bali for like a week, and I always I'm always like, why a week? Like, a week is even worth it? It's like, well, when you're paying fuck all for the flight, then why isn't it worth it?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's not a big deal anymore to fly to Bali, the way, like, Americans go to, like, Cancun or something.
No.
And the other thing was, like, you know, like, if you go on holidays, do you have to get shit-faced? Take a bottle with you from...
Or just get, like, don't get fucking crazy drunk, like,
Yeah.
just enjoy your time.
That annoys me when people go to Indonesia,
Yeah.
you know, this massive continent filled with hundreds of millions of people, and they go to Bali and just get drunk every night.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, there's a couple of thousand years of culture there. Like, maybe leave the hotel room once in a
Let's
while.
just get drunk and shit on the beach.
Yeah.
Dude, I've never been to Bali, man. I went to Jakarta in Indonesia, but I didn't go to Bali. Like,
Yeah.
what for?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't. Yeah, it's fucked. Have you been to schoolies? Have you been up, like, well, not schoolies, but have you either of you ever gone to the Gold Coast to get shit-faced? Like, you know, on the strip and stuff?
No.
Nope.
No. I haven't. Doesn't appeal to me. I don't know.
Toolies or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I look at it is, if you're going to go out into the city, or just to get drunk, you're going to spend at least $100.
Oh,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
Man, cab ride from my house to the city is $50-$60.
And the way I look at it is, if you go spend $100 at a paintball place, you're going to spend 4 hours there. You're going to spend more time at the paintball place than you are in the city.
Yeah.
From like 8 o'clock to midnight is 4 hours.
Yeah.
Spend $100. You're not going to wake up. You'll wake up in the morning, you won't be able to move, but it's because you've just done 4 hours of running around. Like, the hardest time convincing my friends that paintball was more fun than getting shit-faced in the city. Like, yeah.
I'm still waiting for someone to do paintball with here in Melbourne.
I've never been. I've never
Really?
done paintball.
There's this really great field right near my old parents' place.
Yeah.
In South.
Mhm.
Or Langwarrin, Carrum Downs area, between there. Mm-hmm. So I'll take you guys there.
Sweet. Let's do it one day.
What's it worth? I've got like, I've only done paintballing in Cambodia, dude. I've never done it here.
Like $100 would cover everything, but you could do it for less. Like $100 is just like just
Non-stop.
just spray and pay. Spray and pray.
Is it? Can I ask you? Is it actually? Because I've known people that have gone, and I've always I've never had a chance to go, to be honest. Do you spend a lot of time like cowering in like a hole? Like
It depends. It depends how you play. I always play really aggressively.
really?
And it
Turns into a crazy warmonger. Just
He's all conservative here.
snapping
Dude,
necks.
he's all conservative in here.
Yeah.
He's like, no death sentence. We need to not take away people's rights.
It's like
soil erosion.
I can't wear
Hits
too
the
much
paintball
clothing
field.
because it like restricts my movement. And every time, like, I've got photos of me on Facebook where it's just a photo of my back just covered in purple dots. Because they say you can't shoot each other within like 8 meters, but
You do.
sometimes. But if you
Just war paint under his eyes.
yeah.
This is what we play for.
But it doesn't really hurt if you're more than 20 meters away. And I remember one time we were playing at a field and we were pinned down. 2 of us were pinned down on a mound and there was another 2 guys. And I got a little bit over-involved. And I'm like, you know, I was turned to him and was like, lay down, suppressing fire. And he just like, and I run up and I stand on top of this mound and in the moment, I just like hammer these 2 guys standing, like after just legging it like 10K, this paintballs flying over my head.
Can you just see?
They almost killed me.
Dark side now. Like, can you imagine what, man? Maybe in his own house, he's like an actual tyrant. Do you know what I mean? Like slamming fists down on tables. Where's my paper? Lights go out. That's an entirely different story. Do you know what I mean?
His wife's just timid sitting there. Yes, Arthur. Yes.
Have you guys played video games, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know how excited you can get when you play video games.
Yeah, I know,
You
but-
start doing really dumb stuff, like, I can make it across this 100-meter gap without getting shot. That's what happens when you play paintball, and you just get destroyed.
I don't know, man. I'm just, cause he hasn't got the coat on. He's like loose. It's like he's loosened the collar now. He's like, all right, let me tell you.
Got my hoodie, it's knitted, but still.
What the fuck?
The open knitted hoodie.
Yeah.
I'm wearing the same outfit I was wearing last week, man.
With my leather shoulder pads.
Serious.
Sewn on leather shoulder pads.
Where? Where?
Oh my, dude, that's what like your
Teacher.
your
Yeah.
chemistry teacher used to wear.
Yeah.
Man, I remember some of the teachers I used to have. Like, I think sometimes I could just get the flashbacks of just like sitting in like fucking year 8 science or
me too.
year 10 foundation maths, and just remembering like some of the fucking idiots that used to teach us. Man, just creeps.
Yeah.
Creeps. Like you couldn't picture them in social settings whatsoever. It's like something changes.
Yeah.
Something changes over them when they become teachers.
That's so true. They're like just a weird sort of different person. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, 'cause I got a lot of mates that are teachers, and they seem like they're normal, like they're okay people, but then I don't know what happens in the actual classroom. But then, like, I think when you pass that point of like a certain age, and then you either go one way or you you commit.
You keep your edge or you just commit to
Yeah,
that.
you just commit to
Yeah.
the system, man. It just fucking breaks you down.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm just like, I'm not going to name names, man, but I remember like some of the teachers, man, they were just seedy old men, just lurers that would just fucking stink like ashtrays, drive cars that were like 20 years old with faded license plates, wear the same shit day in, day out for like the entire tenure of like my high school, education.
Yeah.
So, some people do it as a day job. Like, they just come into work, they do the minimum required work.
Yeah.
Pays the bills.
Yeah.
That's sad. Like, it's not, I mean, it's a teacher, and I don't think, like, I remember saying this to one of my old teachers, actually, man. I said it to one of my old teachers, I said, I don't think teachers actually understand the impact that they have on, like, their students, man.
Oh, man.
Like, lifelong impact, man. Like, I ran into one of my old teachers, early, like, a couple of years ago, whatever. And I was just remembering, remembering things, and like, oh, I remember this, I remember that. It's like, really? Like, fuck. Okay, yeah, man. Like, I'm just one student. Like, imagine all the kids you've taught.
Yeah.
Like, you're a part of their lives for 4, 5, 6 years minimum.
Man, there'd be some kids where, like, the teachers would be, like, more in their life than their parents, Kids where both parents are working or whatever.
Yeah, latchkey kids and shit, come home to an empty house.
Yeah, exactly.
They say that the best way to get your kid, through school is, the best predictor of school performance is parental involvement. Like, asking your kids about their homework and being a part of your kid's life is the biggest predictor in doing well in school. So you can spend as much on education as you want, but if the kid, the parents aren't there, like, making sure they're doing homework and then explaining stuff and making it fun,
Yeah, I know.
it's not going to be worth nothing.
Dude,
Yeah.
a lot of parents didn't give a fuck at all, man. They're just like, do your homework. It's like, do you even know what my homework is? Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
No fucking idea, man. At the same time, like, especially, like, look, I can't talk about on behalf of your parents, man, but like with immigrant parents especially, man, like my parents, man, like my old man didn't understand half a dick of like what happens in the school system, man. Like,
Yeah.
I remember, dude, one of my biggest peeves was I bombed out at, like, I mean, I've mentioned it before, I pretty much fucked up, like, entire VCE, year 10, 11, 12, I was barely there, right? Attendance record, like, 50%, like, fucking, I did nothing. And then, I remember, like, my vice principal at the time or something, he was, like, a maths teacher as well, and he'd said something to my old man about, like, I don't know if it was tutoring, or, like, getting some kind of involvement from his side in order to help boost something. Like, it was just basically him shaking someone's hand and, like, saying a few words on my behalf or some shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't go along with it. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not calling him. I don't want nothing to do with it, whatever. I got my enter, alright, and I don't actually remember what my enter was, but it was fucking terrible, right? Like, it was shit. I got one, which was more than most of the guys in my graduating class. Like, I actually got an enter score, but it was pretty shit. And compared to what they were expecting from me, like, it was rank. My old man's first reaction was, I told you should have spoken the thing, as if, like, speaking to this vice principal about something was just going to fucking give me some extra 30 points. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I lost my shit. I'm like, do you even get it? Like, you fucking moron. Like, do you even get it? Like, it's just face value for a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know? If you don't turn up with the right marks, then you're fucked. You know, if you didn't do some shit, you're fucked. You know? Actually, you know what? Hang on. I'll ask you guys a question. What did your parents want you to do when you were, like, say, in high school? What were your parents' plans for you?
I don't think my parents had any.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely didn't push me towards any industry. And I had plans, but I never pushed myself for them. Like, it's strange, but I only ever realized that I would have to work for the things I want when I was 23.
Yeah.
And it's like, that hit me like, oh shit, you know, I actually have to try hard. Or
I actually have to get out of bed.
Because, you know, my parents were relatively involved in my life. I went to a good school. I didn't have to try hard. I didn't get a very good inter-score, but it wasn't terrible. I think it was above average, so.
What's average? I've got no idea.
I think it's meant to be 50, isn't it?
That's average?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
I think so. Isn't that how it's supposed to work?
Man, I remember when I was in high school, if you didn't get like an 85 or something, you were just considered like shit.
Yeah, but I think it includes everyone who drops out and stuff.
You know what that is? That's WOG's expectations, man, on their kids.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. Because I'd compare it to everyone. And I'm pretty sure myself, my cousin, who's only 2 weeks older than me, and my twin sister, we all got pretty much identical enters. So no one really said anything. Like there was no... And even though like they went to private Catholic schools and I was the only dropout that went to like... Dude, if you took a snapshot, like my self-esteem was rank. Like when I was like year 10, like 16. Like you took a snapshot, we'd go to family events and it'd be like my sister, my cousin and me. And they'd like go to my cousin. It's like, oh yeah, what school do you go to? Like this, you know, private boys school up in the north.
Dude, same as me.
Works at Red Rooter, like, you know, like doing all this shit on the sidecar audio and stuff. Then go to my sister. It's like, oh yeah, I go to this private Catholic school down in like the south. Oh yeah, I'm working at this. Here's my mobile number. Then they go to me. It's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing.
Dude, that sounds
failing at a state school with no interest or extracurricular activities.
That sounds exactly like my family settings.
No shit.
Same shit, yeah.
No shit. Like that took so long for me to get out of. And even now, man, it's more or less the same. Like, I'm alone in Noble Park eating cheese, you know, government cheese. They're like both married off. One's got a kid.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I live in a building that's nearly condemned by the council.
Maybe if you and I went to private schools, maybe it'd be a completely different story.
Fuck off. Do you know what that means? Man, private schools, you think private schools are the answer?
I don't know.
Alright, I'll tell you what, man. Did you hear about this? Hang on. I was reading, this is literally breaking, man. Like, this is in the last 2 days. There's a website. I don't know if it's a web, I sort of skimmed over the fucking thing. It was, hang on. Where have I got it? Oh, maybe I didn't even have them written down. Oh, no, I did.
So,
sorry, man. I'll tell you. There's a website. It's either a Facey page or a website, right? An independent, like, URL. And it's basically slut-shaming and fishing for nude photos of like, teenagers in schools.
Oh, the private school. I heard about this.
It's not just private school, right? This is what got me, yeah? Like, basically, like, they're putting the name of the girl up, like, on a, you know, to get list, and then guys will just exchange photos, like whether they've bagged them themselves or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. And I took a list, I looked at the fucking names.
Because they were talking about one, it was like St. Michael's.
It was a group,
school.
yeah.
Well, I won't name, because if you look at the schools, yeah, like, I mean, they're in every state, basically.
It's on Facebook, yeah. They're not, it's
nationwide.
just whichever schools they can get.
But you have a look at, like, the schools in Victoria, yeah, right? Like, you want to talk about, like, the shittest of the shit suburbs, right? Like, if you want to pigeonhole unsavory characters and in, like, minorities and demographics across Victoria, have a look at where these schools come from, yeah? Bacchus Marsh Grammar School, Barnsdale Secondary, Basie Secondary, Carrum Downs High School, Christian College Geelong, the Surf Coast Campus, Frankston High School, Hillcrest Christian College, Cambria, Lakeside, Lilydale, Norwood, Packy, Patterson River, Ringwood Secondary, Werribee Secondary. They're like, that's Victoria. I'm not even going into New South or Queensland or whatever. Like, really?
The thing is, I'm almost certain they didn't change it, but that's distributing child pornography.
Yeah, it is. That's
if
child
you're, you know, if you're 17 and your 17-year-old girlfriend sends you a nude, that's distributing and possessing child pornography. And there was a big fuss about it a few years back. I'm not sure they did anything, but even still, putting it on Facebook is straight up like put your name on a list and go to jail kind of territory.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, if you're going to put pictures of your ex or some girl on Facebook, I don't really have a whole lot of sympathy.
But my thing was, where are they coming from? Man, I can tell you this, man, when I was like 17, 18, 19, 19, like still a teenager, sort of going, even just touching on house parties in the areas and then going out to clubs or whatever. Man, private schools, some of the private school kids were completely off their fucking heads, like all on coke.
Yeah.
Because they want to play the bad card like on weekends, you know what I mean? Mum and dad coddled them with a fucking BMW for their 18th, so then they're just blowing dad's cash on like just cheap shit.
I think Yeah, I think I heard the only difference between private school kids and public school kids is private school kids' parents don't know what they get up to on the weekend.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's fine. Dude, that's spot on, man.
Because I went to a very expensive private school, and I'm sure that my friends did. Actually, it was a very tame private school, but there was still plenty of stuff going on that.
Yeah, there's still shit going on.
Kids rocking up to class high and stuff like that. And
Yeah. Just the quality of drugs goes up, that's all.
Yeah.
And the amount of play hours.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, man? All the people you went to high school with, right? How many of them had part-time jobs during school?
I never did, but a few did. I couldn't put exact numbers on it, but I'd say around 50%.
Like, say, would you say a majority, a minority?
I couldn't. I would say minority, but not a huge one. So,
I'll be honest, man. Myself included, most of us all had part-time jobs.
Yeah.
During school, youth allowance just didn't cut it. Like, we were fucking working, man.
Me too, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No shit.
You mean in high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my first jobs in high school was working at Tasty Trucks, like packing those trucks that the chicks drove around. Yeah,
Yeah.
We used to just steal the food and eat it and shit.
Of course you did.
But yeah, we all had jobs, man. Like,
Yeah. Dude, the day I wasn't even of legal age to work yet, and I had a part-time job, like cleaning up Dude, Nick and I both had part-time jobs cleaning up butcher shops in Clayton. We worked two storefronts up from each other. Like, and we were like 13 and a half or whatever it was. You know, what's the legal age? 13 and 7 months or 14 and 7 months?
I think it's 14 and 7 months.
Yeah, we were like younger than that. And the second we could legally get work, we all got fucking work, man.
Yeah.
You know? And man,
Yeah.
that grounds you. That grounds you from a fucking young age where it's like,
Yeah.
you've got to work, man.
Yeah.
So if you've got these private school kids, like the better off private school kids, man, that don't have to work for shit and just feel like this entitled fucking broom up their asses, then,
Yeah.
like,
maybe it was more than, maybe it was anyway, I can't be sure on the numbers,
But
but I don't think, people weren't working like full weekends and stuff. Like, so if they had a private job, it was a couple of shifts. I knew a lot of people, used to go to Frankston after school and work, but it wasn't a big part of their life.
No.
And plenty of people didn't have jobs.
We used to rock
Yeah.
up to class like tired the next day because we were working the night before, man. Whether it was Macca's or whether it was anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
If you're doing that at 16, 17, then how much focus are you going to be putting on school? Like, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out of here to go back to work, you know, for $9 an hour or whatever the fuck we're making.
Yeah, and just paying the teachers a little bit more a year as well.
Yeah.
You know, like, how much would you have to pay a teacher to give it, to care?
To make them try it.
Yeah, so, they get their 50, 60 grand to show up, and then, they get an extra 10 grand on top of that to care about their students,
The care fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think a decent high school teacher would be about 50, 60K, even in public. Because,
Pre or post-tax?
I think we looked it up once.
Pre.
In one of the early episodes.
That's pre-tax. But not including the fact that they got holidays, like, coming out of their asses. And
yeah, but my wife's mother is a teacher, and they don't have holidays. Especially English teachers.
Well,
What, she just works throughout the whole holiday period at home and shit like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, especially like year 12 when
don't know,
you've got kids handing in like sacks that are 10 pages long, and you might have
VCA would probably be a different
How many-
story.
yeah,
Maybe.
how many
English-
most of the teachers I know are all
Yeah.
primary school teachers, to be honest. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
probably why I'm getting the numbers I'm getting.
yeah.
Can I ask you another private school question?
Yep.
Did you ever play Soggy Biscuit?
Oh, you're disgusting.
A what?
Soggy
Oh,
Biscuit?
see, the fact he doesn't know it. You don't know what soggy biscuit is? Really?
I think I do.
That's a private school thing, isn't it?
Yeah. You wouldn't look at this way. You
Is it
wouldn't find-
appropriate, or should I just Google it myself?
What's
on one of your
there's
phones?
nothing inappropriate and appropriate here, man. In fact, this should probably be in the shit you should know.
Just in case for us, naive private school boys. Oh, that sounds delicious.
I love Soggy Biscuits, yeah.
I know it's up to him if he
A
wants to
little bit
explain
of
it.
tea,
No, it's not exactly that, man.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
Does anyone...
Put a cookie in the middle, a bunch of boys stand around the cookie.
I think that's mostly boys' schools.
Ah. Okay.
Couple of my friends went to private boys' schools, and
They'd know.
there were a few stories that are not appropriate for this podcast.
That always gets me, man. Like we've mentioned it before. Like we've talked about remember, John, you were talking about how you have these certain mates that you can fuck around with and make
homosexual, like innuendo jokes and shit like that. Yeah, it's really sexualized, just jokes and shit.
Yeah.
And it's cool. But then, like, yeah, you always see these fucking horror stories from, like, boys' schools, especially. Or not even boys' schools, just private schools. But it's usually private schools, man.
Just these warped, like,
just warped, like, to the extreme. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Yeah.
No, like, what? Like, why would you do that, man? I don't get it.
When it makes the public school kids cringe, you know it's fucked up.
Like, what?
Arthur's sitting there with a little grin on his face, like, that's thinking back.
There's a darkness just coming over again.
My school wasn't a traditional, like, blazer and suit pants.
What was it? No, you went to like a laissez-faire, like open style. The students are the teachers.
The Masons College.
Yeah.
Junior Masons.
Get out your paddles, boys.
Yeah, that's it, every morning.
Yeah, but pretty much. Yeah, we like run around with trees and shit. And I think.
Wait, was it a boys' school?
No, it was mixed.
Okay.
And it was very tame. Yeah, I was very lucky to go to that school.
Mason School.
You know what boggles my mind? I was driving through, where was I going? I was going to, like, Coburg, Heidelberg sort of area, like up through there, and I drove through, like, Bulleen, like that way. Mm-hmm. There's not a boys' school, it's a private, I'm pretty sure it's a private school. It's right off the Bulleen exit freeway on the Eastern.
I know it, yeah.
Yeah, it's opposite that Italian social club thing. I keep forgetting the name of it. But I remember I was driving past and I messaged Nick while I was doing it. I think I called him. I'm like, dude, have you been out there here? He's like, oh yeah. I did a job out there like a week ago. I go, man, what the fuck is up with this school? He's like, yeah, bad, huh? It's like a golf course.
Yeah.
I've never seen so much green in my life, man. Like, it was a golf course. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, we had rubble. Like, we had gravel for a soccer field, man. Yeah, and then you just think, like, how much that would affect...
I'm pretty sure my high school has a nature reserve.
What?
Like an actual, like, couple of acres.
Bird sanctuary.
Fenced off nature reserve.
Can you just see him doing fencing?
Oh, yeah, totally. Just perfect form.
Well, I built fences.
We're doing, like...
But that was part of the good thing, like, they got the kids to build it. So, there was environment...
No, we're saying fencing, like, as in, like, with
No, fencing, as in...
building a fence, yeah.
No, building a fence.
Like, with the swords.
I did do that once in high school.
You know that...
the fact that was an option!
The gentleman's sport. It's the gentleman's sport.
Like that scene in Richie Rich, you know, that kid with the mocha latte, whatever the hell it is? Yeah, that's what it is.
Yep.
We had, like, pit fights going on, man, and, like, dudes gambling on it. You know what I mean? Throwing down, like, money.
It was like me telling you that time I went to Caulfield Grammar for the cricket camp, my cousin's school.
Oh, yeah, and you were losing it. Like,
just the difference between my school and that school was just like, oh my God. Like, our walls were, like, falling down, holes in the walls, whatever.
Should there really be that much of a gap?
Well, that's what kind of I trip out on. Like, why is it like that? Like, they have everything to the top standard, and we had zero.
Like, nothing.
We had
to
zero.
Fight. Dude, I remember we had to fight for things like a soccer ball at lunch. It's like, you know, it popped last week, you don't get another one. What, you get one soccer ball for the entire year? For, like, the entire school?
I remember we used to play table tennis at my school. Every single bat, that rubber shit was, like, peeling off. So it was like,
we were
flappy.
repairing them ourselves or bringing them or stealing them from like, another school.
Like, just...
Yeah, like, man, that difference, man, between, like, not only does it, like, I always bring it up about how the fact of, like, and Nick and I especially used to bring it up, like, you know, where we're from and where we've grown up but man, that fucks with you on, like...
Dude, it's like either going into a prison or a country club. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
Comparing the two.
So which...
I could smell him, like, gearing up with some stat.
I can't find the exact numbers, but you know how it works. Public means it's funded by public, the government. Private means you fund it. So, which one receives more money from the government? Public schools or private schools?
Oh, well,
you'd assume,
I was going to say you'd assume public, but this guy's like waiting. This is the expose.
Yeah, private schools get more money from the government than public schools.
Why?
Yeah, good question.
Because we're moulding the future leaders, Dim.
Oh, yeah. Everyone else is scum. We're all set to work to, you know, clean the driveways of these dudes once they turn fucking 30. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Private schools get more funding from the government. That's fucked. I'm
like how much more? Considerable, or
I'm trying to look it up now.
Man, like, you think about like a child, man. Like say like you going to that cricket camp or whatever, or you know like me, like just going anywhere, you know, like going to visit a mate at like another school and just seeing what the fuck. Like if you're like 14 or 15 years old, man, like you're impressionable. And if that's what you're led, like, you know, this is as good as it's going to get for you,
I remember
motherfucker.
feeling like scum. I remember feeling like scum. I was like, oh my God. Like,
This is as good as it's going to get for you, mate. And then you go to like another school and it's just like, man, you know what I used to get stared at? And I haven't gone for a ride in ages, so probably like a year and a half ago, easy year and a half ago. I usually ride under the Scotchman's Creek path, like under the M1, like that passes like St. Kevin's and all these golf courses and fucking like soccer fields and cricket fields.
just
and,
pristine grasses.
yeah, man, rugby fields, lacrosse fields, hockey fields. Like, what the fuck? We literally had a cement like area that doubled as like a basketball court, a soccer court, a hockey field. You know, it was fucked, right? But this was only a year and a half ago or so, man. I was riding my bike along Scotchman's under the M1 and I passed St. Kevin's and it was around, must have been like 3 o'clock or something. And all the kids were pouring out of the school or coming back in. They all had their little blazers on. They were looking at me like I was like some fucking servant. I was just riding my bike through, man. They were looking at me like, well, who you fuck off. I'm like, you little prick, get off my bike.
Every time I drive past one of those places, I just think this is so unfair. Like, I mean, like, why are some people that entitled to have that and others aren't? Like,
yeah, and I don't
just
want to
because of your parents. Like,
I don't want to hear that. Oh, their parents worked hard to fucking things. No, you know what? Because my parents have fucking worked hard too, man. Yeah, everyone makes choices, and like everyone gets, you know, the shit end of the stick or the lucky roll of the dice or you know whatever. But I don't think
whatever. Yeah.
I don't think at that level, man, like primary school and high school, I don't think the divide should be that fucking big.
Obvious
Me either.
as well, because right from the start, it makes you a second-class citizen. And if you see it every day, you believe it, and then you're just not going to try.
It's one thing if you're like 25, 30, and you've been in the workforce for 5, 10 years, and you're sort of finding your place in society. But it's another thing to be fucking 14 and think I'm lower than shit, or think I'm the fucking shit.
And having a good education is linked to so many things. Like if people stay in school, they commit less crime. Like it's just that simple. So yeah, we're going to spend $100K a year to stick you in a jail cell, but we're not going to spend an extra 10 on get your education.
Exactly, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
no shit.
Yeah, okay. So I found that this is the 2016-2017 budget. So non-government schools, $10.6 billion a year. Government schools, $6.4.
$4 billion.
$6.4 billion.
So $4 billion difference.
Yeah, $4 billion difference.
Wow.
Why do private schools get more funding though?
I have no idea.
And there'd be a lot more public schools, right?
You'd think.
Yeah, of course there'd be more
Like,
public
heaps
schools.
more. Like,
Yeah. Dude, of course. That's a no-brainer.
At least it might be pretty close in terms of high school, but primary school, it would be
Primary school, yeah, like
there'd be far more public.
I'm just thinking of the areas that I've sort of spent my life in, and I can name all the
There's not 40% more kids in.
no.
There's not 40% more kids in private schools than
I mean,
there
how
are
many kids
public.
did you know that went to private primary schools? Like, let's start with primary schools.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
I think everyone. You went to public.
Public.
Yeah, public. Yeah, I went to a public primary school.
Yeah,
I
most
think
people went to
everyone
public,
did.
public primary schools.
Yeah.
Private was really sort of niche. Like, you were usually like an Italian that went to like a Catholic primary school or something. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not speaking for myself here, obviously, but yeah, you wouldn't think $4 billion is justified to be handing out to private schools over public.
Yeah.
On what grounds? None. Just because. How is that fair?
It'd be interesting to see exactly where that money went.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't the point of private education being that the onus is on?
You're paying for it.
Yeah.
Obviously not.
No, clearly not. Like, why? Make it even. Or has the government decided that private schools are churning out the leaders of tomorrow quicker than they are? Or they're just more Masons shaking hands? You know what I mean?
Future Liberal voters.
It's really depressing.
That's a mind-boggling stat. I would never have thought that for a million fucking years, man. Never. That is really, really fucked up.
Yeah.
Does anyone know this? I mean, if we didn't know
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. And this guy's clued in on that sort of shit.
I thought maybe they'd get a little bit for like whatever, like shit that wasn't covered. Like,
Yeah.
Not almost 50% more.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What are the fees though? Because I know, like even with state schools, they sort of force you to pay your levies and all that sort of shit. Yeah, because like, I know that my education wasn't entirely free. Like, we had to pay something. So you'd assume private schools would cover, like I said, the onus is on them entirely to cover the kids' education, but not $4 billion in surplus over the state funding. How is that justified?
You guys know about the Gonski reforms?
What's that?
You would have heard about it. Gonski reforms to amp up public education.
Yeah.
So it was a Labor government thing last election where they're like, this is what we want to do to public schools to improve the education, the base education standards. So it was a big deal, and that was only going to cost like $2.25 billion a year.
But nah.
So it didn't happen?
Didn't happen. It didn't happen because Liberal got in, and it was a Labor plan, so they decided they didn't want it.
Let me think about that.
No.
Sorry, guys.
But we'll keep giving private schools $4 billion more than we're giving state schools.
I'm not gonna say it's the best thing in the world because I just don't know that much about it. But
Let me like a private.
But it was supposed to like significantly improve public education standards.
Like private schools, yeah. It's exactly what they are. They're privatized institutions, yeah? So they don't fall under any umbrella of, like, you know.
Yeah, well, you don't think of them getting handouts because, like, public schools are
Why
also...
the fuck would they be getting handouts?
Public schools are also called government schools, so you just assume that they're the only government-funded schools.
Yeah, they are government-funded. So my taxes go to government-fucking-funded things, not private hospitals, not private schools.
But the truth is, public schools are more government-funded because they're getting more money from the government and more interest from the government, obviously.
Dude, that is shit you should know.
That is... That
is fucked. That is the best way to... Hey, man, you nailed it right on the fucking head, dude.
Yeah.
Right on the head. You'd think government-funded schools would be funded by the government.
And you know... What if we have kids here? We pay taxes. We probably... Well, at this stage, we couldn't afford to send our kid to a private school.
I don't know, what are fees for private schools? I've never even...
10 grand if you're lucky. Well, it depends on the school, yeah.
A year, we're doing a year?
Yeah.
So what's it, a year?
Oh, 10 grand. Easily. If you want to spend 20 grand on your kid's education per year, you could do it.
I remember my cousin's parents were always like, oh shit, these fees, like, always struggling to pay them or whatever at Caulfield Grammar. I can't remember how much it was exactly, but it's
so
decent.
Caulfield Grammar would be close to 20k. But there are private schools that charge much less than that.
You know how much money that is, man?
It's such a huge amount of money.
Hang on, and you know what's funny?
It shouldn't come down to money. Like,
Dude,
it just shouldn't.
20 grand, like let's say 20 grand per child, right? Like how many kids per private school? Like let's use Caulfield Grammar as the example. Yeah, hang on. So students...
You look up students, I'll look up price.
Caulfield. Yeah, Johnny, you just sit there.
I was just about to about to start statting and I got 1% battery.
Caulfield Grammar, number of students, yeah? That's what we're doing?
Yep.
Caulfield Grammar School now has over 3,000 students throughout its three-day campuses. 3 campuses, 3,000 students, so let's just assume it's 1,000, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So 1,000 students times 20 grand.
So you know how there's like the old stereotype of where you hand in your kid's application form and you just like slip them 100 on the slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So this is from the Caulfield website. The application for enrollment form can be printed by you. Alternatively, you can contact us and we can send you one. And should be returned with the $100 application fee.
What?
So to even apply for this school, you gotta slip them $100. Just a casual.
Just a casual fucking pineapple, few pineapples just under the...
Yeah.
Just to apply. And they can knock you back. So if they, you know what, if they see it in like $100 bill, that's like just crisp, they're like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
We'll suss him out. If it's like a couple 20s.
No.
5.
Incinerate that application immediately.
Dude, that's
along with the 20s. Pff, what do they think we are? What can I possibly spend this on?
They burn the money. I feel really embarrassed every time I go to a store or something and I pull out my wallet to pay and I actually have cash because like I never have cash. I'm using my card for everything.
Yeah, same. Just don't carry it.
I pull out my wallet and I've got nothing but 5s And they just like, I go to weed through my wallet, and they just look at me. I always get the look, and I just laugh again for the drug dealer money, and they laugh about it. But it's like, yeah, man, I've actually got nothing but vibes.
Dude, the other day you reminded me, I went through the bottle-o and I wanted to buy just one bottle of beer.
Oh, nah.
And I was 20 cents short, and I'm like scrounging around for it. I felt like the biggest scumbag. The guy's just like, you know what, just take it, man, it's alright. Like, he must have thought I was like, last money, like...
You're like a homeless dude, like,
yeah,
bad.
Last bit of money, like he's just trying to get a beer, I'll just give it to him, and I felt so scummy.
Man, that happened today. What's it called? When I went and bought some donuts and, what did I buy? I bought donuts and a bread roll for breakfast or something. I was at the Vietnamese bakery around the corner, and I was counting, all I had, because I get paid tomorrow, so my wallet's like bare empty, right? I grabbed some coins from the center console of my car, because I know I've always got like coins in there. Mm-hmm. And I've just like, a couple gold coins, and I don't want to shoot myself in the foot and not have coins for parking, so I'll just take some silver as well.
Yep.
I went in, and as I walked through the door, I've seen some Crostoli's pastries sitting on the shelf for like $2.50. The donuts, the bread roll was like 50 cents, and then they had 6 donuts for like $2.50 or $3 or something. Mm-hmm. And I said to her, okay, I'll get the donuts and I'll get the bread roll. And she's like, oh, okay, that's $3. And I'm looking at my coins. I'm like, why do I have so many coins left over? She has something else? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, the Crostoli's. Yeah, sweet. And even then, I did like a double check just to make sure I had enough coins.
And doing the maths really quickly.
Dude, it's $4.70.
Okay. So, how often do you guys see a $100 note?
I'll tell you what.
See, did you say?
Yeah.
I have never seen one.
I'll be honest.
I've heard about them. They sound magical.
I'll tell you what, this year, like, for a few things, I've had to go to the bank and change, because I've had, like, weddings and engagements and shit like that. I've gone to the bank and changed, like, 2 20s, 3 5s, a 10 and a 50, like, to cover, like, because I didn't want to be a scumbag and put that in the card or something.
Yeah.
So I've seen a few this year, man, but before that, I couldn't
So,
tell you.
according to the Reserve Bank of Australia, there are 300 million $100 notes in circulation. Almost 3 times the number of $5 notes.
Whoa.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
These dudes sleeping on beds of the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and people doing cash jobs.
Old Scrooge McDuck swimming through his $100 bills in the city.
Yeah, exactly. So people hiding money from the government in cash, basically.
You know what you need? You just need, like, what were they called from Cambodia? What were they called? The Khmer Rouge. The Khmer Rouge, the Cambodian atrocity. You don't remember it? Yeah, surely, man, you would have read that book, First They Killed My Father, in high school.
Oh, Cambodia. Pol Pot.
Yeah, Pol Pot.
Yeah.
Dude, that, like, one of the horror stories of that, like, one thing that was happening was when the Khmer Rouge moved in and, like, took over government and fucked everyone over, they changed the currency. So there was, like, these peasant farmers that had been saving and scrounging, like...
With nothing.
They just had piles of money, you know, like, under their beds, just hoping one day they could get the fuck out. And then all of a sudden, overnight, governments just changed currency. That's it. It's worthless.
Yeah.
They got, like, a minute percent back. You know, like, you handed it in, and they'd give you, like...
A couple of shiny pennies.
Here's your chicken for your troubles, you know? And the guys were just burning it alive, burning themselves alive as well. It's like, fuck it. There's no point. Can you imagine that? Yeah, could you imagine that, man? If what would happen? Think about it. What would happen if tomorrow US dollar just fell and they just fucking like, nah, it's obsolete. It's worth jack shit. Could you imagine the state?
Let's tear this place apart.
No shit.
You mean like they did in 1970?
Yeah.
When they just like, no, French, you can't have your gold back.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, they essentially did that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the value of the dollar didn't plummet, but you know, I'm sure there was a while there where people panicked because this money that was backed by gold is now essentially backed by nothing.
I was filtering through the net like the other day. I was on Insta or something, man. I think it was part of that system is broken page that I'm following. It had that they just had a screenshot, like just a photo of like a $50 note or whatever, a dollar note. And said this piece of paper controls your life. Like literally, I was thinking about that. Like currency just controls us, like no matter what. That's it. Like the shit people die for it, people kill for it, people like kill themselves over it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's just a piece of fucking paper, a piece of plastic like we've got. You know? It's amazing. Like that concept.
Yeah. I was tripping on that the other day as well.
You know, money is only ever worth something when you spend it.
Yeah.
So, all these people that just collect millions and millions of dollars in offshore bank accounts, and that money has no value.
No, it's the theoretical.
It's monopoly money.
Yeah, it's a theoretical token
And,
just sitting
yeah.
there.
Because, I mean, quite literally, the money in my wallet, its only value is the fact that I can go down to the store and buy food with it, or buy something with it. That's it's the only time it has value.
Otherwise, it's a piece of shit plastic.
$100 you can't spend, may as well be monopoly money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I just invest it, live a little, buy yourself a stupidly fast car and crash it. You know? Like,
You're talking to his son.
life advice. But no, invest it in your future. You don't need.
Look,
You don't need millions of
You're
dollars.
actually
in the
making a
bank
really
account.
good point because, like, I piss and moan the fact that I'm always broke and I have no money, no savings, whatever. Like, I piss and moan about that all the time. But the truth is if I had a full-time job where I was getting I was getting sick days and, like, fucking holidays and that sort of shit, I probably wouldn't have much more money than I do now.
No.
Probably because, like, when I was in my mid-20s or sort of thing, I travelled a lot. Like, whatever I had, I basically saved up to go travelling.
Yeah.
Someone said to me, who was it the other day? I can't remember who I was speaking to. Someone said to me that you drive a Sky. Was it you, Johnny?
Yeah, we're talking about
Got the Skyline.
Yeah.
And it said, you're driving a Skyline. Like you're driving a nice car or whatever. That wouldn't have been cheap. And I said, what?
How much does that car cost you a week?
A week?
Yeah.
On just fuel and insurance, or
No, just like the loan to pay it off.
Oh, dude, see the loan, I didn't get the loan outright just for the car. I got the loan and it sort of covered a few other things as well, including my credit card.
Okay.
So the actual loan for the car itself was only a couple grand, like it was nothing.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't that far off the mark. It's what everything else came with it. Right? It's like think about it like this, like Mike, and I said this was the point I'd made. I said it to someone at work, or maybe Johnny as well. Maybe it was a combination of a couple conversations. Like I'm really not sure. But they said, get rid of your car then, you chose to buy this. I'm like, yeah, but dude, my car's 13 years old and it was 10 grand when I bought it. How many people had 10 grand cars for their first cars? Like you see them now, like P-platers with fucking
Brand new.
BMWs, brand new 40 grand BMWs.
Brand new Mazdas, whatever.
I'm in my 30s. This is the, 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth car that I've owned since I got my license when I was still a teenager. And this is the first car that's like 10 grand. And I think it's like the fucking best thing I've ever bought in my life. Having said that, I physically couldn't, when it came time for me needing to buy a new car, I could have bought a shit box, right? Like a piece of shit that was falling apart that I'd have to spend money on.
Cost you more.
To fix in the long run.
To get a basically reliable car, you're going to have to spend at least $5,000.
Yeah. Or
and you spend an extra $5,000 on that. And what does that cost you an extra week?
Fuck all.
For a 3-year loan, which is what most people.
Yeah. Right. So then I thought about it and I'm like, I could do that. Buy a shitter, that's going to break, could catch on fire just me reversing out of my driveway, right? No shit. Or I could buy, my mate bought a Hyundai something, like a brand new 2000, he bought it around the same time as me, brand new 2015 Hyundai something, which is a nice looking car, but he spent like $5,000, $6,000 more than I did, right? At the end of the day, it's a Hyundai.
Yeah.
Right? That car's not going to last 10, 13 years the way mine did.
Yeah, no.
So how much value do you place getting on that into that car each day?
Dude, and I explained it to, I think I said it to my dad, because he understood, like, cold. He's like, I agree. He has 100%. I go, man, I don't have much. Like, every day, I don't have shit. I don't have a job that I find satisfying. Like, I don't get my shits and giggles going to work. I don't feel fulfilled. Like, life goals and shit. I don't have much. But if I had to leave my apartment every morning and go down to my car to go drive to a job that I hate and deal with the rest of my life, if I had to look at a car that I fucking hated,
barely starts,
or was
stinks.
completely away from my personality or anything that I remotely liked, like, let me have this one vice.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
But even still, man, it's not even like an exuberant.
No, it's
like
not.
It's such a nice.
It's a
cheapish car. Like,
it's a cheap car. It's well below the average fucking price of a lot of cars on the road, man. And the fact that I'm going without all this other shit to make that work, then so be it. Like, that's my one vice.
So let's say that you could get a reliable car for $5,000 and your car costs twice that.
Yeah.
So that extra $5,000 you're spending is $33 a week.
Yeah.
How many hours do you spend in that car?
In fucking a lot of hours,
like
man.
10?
10.
No, hour to work.
Okay,
So let's just say 10.
okay, well,
let's just say 10 because it makes the math easy.
Hang on. No, wait a second.
let's say
Think about it like this. You know what? 10, if all I was doing every day
Was going to work and
coming back. I give myself half an hour to get to work and half an hour to get back. Let's say 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You got fucking an hour, 5 hours, whatever. Right? That's me just going to work and coming back. 10. Let's say 10.
Yeah. It works out to be that you're spending $3
Yeah.
for every hour. Extra. $3 extra. If you were to get a 3-year loan.
Yeah.
And you can make arguments that maybe that car's going to depreciate a little bit quicker than.
No, but the reality is it
Hyundai.
won't, because it's a fucking 13-year-old car and it's still costing the same amount that a lot of fucking new cars cost.
Yeah.
So there's the argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's what I hate on face value, when people straight away just go, "Oh, well, you drive a fucking, can't all be driving Skylines." Like, you're a dickhead. Like, I did the numbers
Yeah.
before I bought this
And
fucking thing.
if it was a $20,000 car or a $30,000 car, you'd have a point. But
Yeah, but it isn't.
it's just $30 a week that you choose to spend on yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Buying smokes, man. People buy a pack a day. That's
Yeah.
$30 a day.
Or beer, man. People spend
Beer.
more than that on beer,
Beer, smokes, fucking...
coffee.
Yeah, going out to dinners. Yeah, well, I don't. I fucking eat 90% of my meals from my hands. I don't smoke. I barely drink booze
Yeah.
anymore. There you go. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
And there are plenty of people out there driving like very expensive cars that they shouldn't afford.
Yeah.
I'll be one of them soon enough.
Yeah, no shit. You looking to buy a car?
Yeah, the Tesla.
Ah, yeah. Oh, that's not coming from 2023.
Yeah, I've got a couple of years to save up for it.
They look pretty sexy though, those Teslas, man.
Yeah, it should be a really nice car.
Yeah, like I've seen a few of them. Like at Chatty, they've got the
store
charging
setup.
bays and stuff in the stores. They look pretty nice for what it is. I reckon it looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
They look like Jags or Maseratis and stuff. Like really European, man.
Yeah. A really nice car. So-
Yeah, man.
But the new ones will be cheaper.
You reckon?
Yeah, they're bringing out a new model. It'll cost me $50,000 if I get it.
The new model or the one
Yeah.
you've ordered?
The one I've ordered is a new model, so they'll start making it in 2 years.
It's amazing how like it's still it's an expensive car, like in hindsight or whatever. But you'd think so many more car developers would be actually jumping on board to pump them out. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if it'll save money in the long run, they can look good, still do everything that normal, like fuel, petrol.
So yeah, the Tesla Model S, their current car, if you get a top of the line in Australia, I think it comes to just around $200,000. I don't know the exact, which is an expensive car, yeah.
That's fucking, yeah.
But keep in mind, this is the fastest accelerating sedan ever built,
Really?
the safest sedan ever built. It has a range of 500 kilometers, electric.
That's mad.
How long does it take to charge?
It depends on where you plug it in. So
Okay, your home base, you know.
it'll take forever.
What, like overnight?
Okay, so if you were going to do like a standard amount of driving, something like what you would do,
Yeah.
you could charge it at your own home port. But if you were going to do $500,000 a day and come in and plug it into your house, like it would be maybe like 25% charge by the time you get back to it in the morning.
Really?
Yeah. So you can install superchargers, which will
What are they worth?
I think there are about 1,500 installed.
Do it yourself off eBay.
Yeah, yeah.
YouTube.
But these are
Johnny
like,
and I have just got like
but these,
suits on, like
yeah,
Unwire circuit board 1. Okay.
playing with
And-
DC AC.
yeah. Yeah, so you can
John, your
you can
hair's
install one of
sticking
them, and that will pretty much cover you for whatever
When did you
need.
paint your nails, bro? They just look black.
Nice hair, Johnny.
Your teeth are a bit black today. Is that
Yeah,
normal?
man. What
Yeah.
the fuck? What'd you eat? Brush your teeth. Yeah, but look,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
short term expense, man. Long term gain. Like,
Yeah, and it has an 8-year warranty, and it is I think it has a limit on how many Ks you can do, but it's really hard to do that many K. But other than that, there's no. So you can drive it for 4 years, never service it, and then it breaks. You can take it in to get serviced and I'll fix it.
That's cool.
yeah, dude, no one has that luxury,
Yeah.
man, with anything.
Yeah. So, yeah, they recommend you service it every, 25K or each year, but it's not compulsory and it doesn't void the warranty.
So what would go into a service for a car like that?
Yeah, so it's
like a
expensive.
lab.
Yeah,
Just guys in white
It's just
suits.
laptops.
Yeah, that's it though. It's expensive, and I looked into what they do, and they just do everything, like everything you could possibly do to that car, because you can't service the motor. The motor goes
unclip the plugs and blow them out.
yeah, but that's kind of what they do. They go around and check connections and everything.
Metho on the leads, like on the connectors.
They'll check all your lights.
WD.
But it's the first car, this first like production car this company's ever made. So I think they've been really like worried that it's going to just not be that reliable.
Where are they?
And the very first ones weren't.
Where are they manufactured?
California.
Oh, so they're all imported cars.
Yeah, well, from California. Yeah, yeah. None of them are made in Australia.
Yeah, no. Fuck, there's importing tax on that.
Luxury car tax.
It's a luxury car. Oh,
Yeah, it's 200k. Everything over like 75k is luxury.
How much is the insurance going to be on that bad boy?
Actually, that's a very good question.
So,
man.
in the States, I don't know, in the States, because it's so safe, it's the safest car ever built, it's kind of comparable.
All right.
So, they are expensive.
That's in the States.
Yeah, but I think we have the same thing here. We have
bourbon and Coke isn't comparable.
no, yeah, but I think it's the same thing. Like, so I don't know, maybe it's different because we have it's comparable.
Yeah.
To it, but it's a very expensive car, so it's going to cost a lot more money. But because of the safety, like they get in less crashes, like literally.
Okay? So how's the safety features any different to?
Well, so they've got autopilot.
Oh, one of those.
No, but like autopilot, like turn it on.
Yeah, just put
Like
your hands back.
I test drove one of these on the Monash, and I switched on autopilot. I didn't have to touch the steering wheel or accelerator pedal for a couple of Ks.
Yeah, bad man. American.
Wow.
It's the only car with that level of autopilot.
That's insane. I wouldn't feel safe, man.
Yeah, I'd always be like, oh, go grab the steering wheel.
So
That's just
Tesla. Officially, Tesla say it's a beta test. Yeah,
Okay,
so
let me
it
say
works,
something.
but they say you're not allowed to have your hands off the steering wheel. And apparently, if you do take your hands off, it'll beep at you. But it didn't beep at me on the Monash.
Look, I'll be honest. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I don't fucking have faith in that. Right?
Yeah.
There's a perfect example. Today, just before I got here, I went to Centacom to return that USB card that I tried installing in my computer system. Like I've been fucking losing my shit at my computer for 3 weeks. Basically built the computer from scratch because I'm poor. Right? And I took this card back, and the guy's like, why? I go, well, I went through hell trying to install it, and when I finally did, it was just working like shit. Computer was just switching on and off, it was just a piece of shit hardware. I think that's why I'm paranoid that car would glitch up, just because I've always dealt with rubber bands and fucking sticky tape.
It's not perfect. There are a couple of I've seen two videos of it crashing where one it was. Well, no, this was a guy talking. He was saying it was following a motorbike in front of him, because it'll lock onto a car and just follow it, and then I'll look at the lines and say, I'm going to be this far behind the motorbike.
Target acquired.
Yeah, but then the motorbike lane split.
Halt.
So the motorbike lane split, the car's like, I'm going to follow the motorbike. But he didn't end up crashing because the guy was driving. He's like, I know what's going to happen here. He slammed on the brakes. Nothing happened. There was another example where it crashed into a car parked on the side of the road. And one where it hit a truck, I think. But it was complicated. But at the same time, like, I've seen videos...
This is horrific, man.
No, but okay.
I had something in my eye.
On the other side, I've seen a video of a guy sitting in the back seat of his car, filming the front seat, the empty front seat, as this car is driving like 160k down the autobahn.
Yeah.
He's a brave man.
Yeah, no shit. I wouldn't fuck that. Okay, let me ask you.
I mean, it's very good, but it's not like fall asleep in the back seat.
Hang on. Is there going to be like a disclaimer in the fucking manual when you get the car that says, "Do not, under any circumstance, put on autopilot and think this is a substitute for driving"?
Yeah.
This is entertainment purposes only.
It has to be. You have to activate it at the shop, and apparently it's like a fairly robust tutorial. Like the guys will sit you down and explain to you in no uncertain terms that this is beta software, and that if you don't have we're not if the car crashes, you're in charge of this car. This is autopilot assistance. So,
but it's no way a replacement for fucking driver.
Because it's essentially learning. Yeah,
because I was going to say could you imagine insurance claims? If these cars started fucking just mowing cunts down or whatever.
Yeah.
Was on autopilot.
Yeah, I was doing my taxes and, fucking FaceTiming with my missus and jerking off while the car
Yeah.
was driving itself.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Tesla's fault.
Yeah. This guy in the backseat playing Candy Crush, half asleep in his jocks.
Yeah.
Car was meant to get me to work, but it's stacked. What the fuck is wrong with you,
Yeah.
man?
So, like, in some on a freeway, it's almost perfect. Like, yeah, as I said, I stuck it on the Monash, stuck it in autopilot. Didn't have to touch the steering wheel for kilometres.
How'd you feel doing that?
I was a little bit uncomfortable. But there was quite a bit of, it was the middle of the day on the Monash, so there was traffic. And, But, I read the stories, I knew that it's not perfect, so I had my hands near the steering wheel. Oh, so the current model, the Model S Tesla, has pretty good autopilot, but, you can't trust it. So, but there's a conspiracy theory that the Model 3, the one that I'm going to buy, will be fully autonomous. So,
Skynet.
yeah, the dash is like super boring, and they've got a 17-inch TV in the middle of the dash.
17-inch?
17-inch, I think, yeah. So
that's like this big.
It's big for a
car.
For a car. So the Model S has a screen as well, but it's in portrait.
Yeah.
Whereas in the new one, it's turned over to landscape like a TV. Okay. So and because it's got a super plain dash, everyone's going, they're going to have a retractable steering wheel, and you're going to be able to sit back and watch the TV on this screen.
Just lounge back in your chair.
So taking away man's natural inclination to be aware and just fucking fall asleep at the wheel, literally. Mm-hmm. You have arrived at your destination.
Yeah.
What?
So all that's like conjecture at this point, but
man, there are people that like. I don't know about you, but I like driving my car.
I love driving.
So
I love driving.
And so this car, the base model, will get from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.6 seconds.
At autopilot.
No, that's you put the base model, 5.6 seconds to 100 k's an hour.
What's the top model?
That's quick.
That's pretty quick.
That's quick.
That'd be as quick as your Skyline, if not quicker.
Yeah, easy.
And you can get a double motor version, which will do it in allegedly 3 seconds. So these are drivers' cars. They go really quick, and because the battery's in the floor, they have a ridiculously low center of gravity. So they handle
gliding along.
Yeah, handle really well, and the Model S is the fastest accelerating sedan ever built.
But man, it's fucking autopilot mode though. That's what's troubling for me. Like on so many levels.
But I mean, say you're on your way to work one day and you get stuck in ridiculous traffic on the Monash.
Yeah.
Just turn on autopilot and don't worry about it.
It doesn't. Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't think like a human. Like
No.
So it doesn't react the way a human will react. Like, look at it now, when you turn on Google Maps and it's like, I want to get to here, and you're looking at it like, man, this does not make sense. This will take fucking longer. I know in the back of my head, it's going to take half the time just by doing this shortcut and going here and doing that.
Yeah. It'll be a very long time before you can realistically just fall asleep at the wheel.
But that's what I'm saying.
But for stuff like in traffic on the Monash, when there's a traffic jam and you're going 5k an hour
that's
or
just
something.
dumbing everyone down though.
Yeah, but I mean,
because this is the thing.
Do something productive.
No one will do anything productive. They'll be playing Pokemon Go, leaning out of the fucking window, getting their heads cleaned up by semis. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the point. That it's taking away the natural inclination to be alert, to be
in the moment.
In the moment, just reacting to shit and just thinking. Thinking. This is literally think about this, right? This one dickhead gets up in the morning, fucking heats up an instant meal in the fucking microwave, gets dressed, gets in his car, the car drives him to work.
Are you a human anymore?
At what point has he actually woken up and thought for himself?
Yeah.
At what point? We didn't get to this point in time by being asleep at the wheel. We got to this point in time by thinking outside the box. These computers are not thinking outside the box. They'll never think outside the box because they're fucking computers. The day they think outside the box and are fully alert, that's Skynet, and we're fucked. Then you see Will Smith coming back to save everyone.
Yeah.
Well, this is a little step on the way, I guess.
And another thing you mentioned why no one else is doing it. Have you guys heard about the Tesla Gigafactory?
No, what's that?
So it's getting built right now in near California. I can't remember the state. But when it's completed, it will be the biggest in terms of floor space factory ever built. In terms of volume, it will be second to the Boeing factory.
How big is a Boeing factory? I've got no idea. I know it's big.
It's massive. This factory.
I'll look it up.
But so yeah, Tesla Gigafactory.
I was going to look up the Boeing factory.
Okay, yeah.
How big it is.
So when this factory is complete, it will double the world's lithium production.
What?
Battery production.
Lithium?
Double. Yeah, lithium battery production just for these cars and their battery packs for your house. So that's why no one else is doing it, because if you get in a Tesla, you can drive all around Australia and plug in your car and charge it at a supercharger for free. So at a supercharger, it'll charge 20% of the battery. No, I'm sorry, 80% of the battery in 20 minutes. So you can, you drive for 500k, plug it in, drive 400, plug it in. So that's like what you would stop normally.
The Boeing Everett factory in Everett, Washington. Yeah, airplane assembly building owned by Boeing, located on the northeast corner of Payne Field, largest building in the world. This factory covers 399,480 meters squared, so it's 98.7 acres.
Yeah. So the Tesla factory.
Look at the size of this thing, dude.
The Tesla factory, in terms of floor plan, so meters squared is bigger, but in volume it's smaller.
It's fucking massive.
Yeah.
So about 3 kilometres in length or whatever.
Yeah, acres, 98.7 acres squared. So what's that? That's
Massive.
I'm terrible with these sort of things.
Yeah. And yeah, so Tesla has kind of taken over the car industry by stealth. So I mean, you can't buy, if you were to go down and buy a BMW electric car, there is no charging infrastructure.
Then where are you meant to charge it?
They're BMW, you can't.
So why are you buying it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you want to buy an electric car, your only option at the moment is Tesla, because the infrastructure just isn't there for anyone else. There are Tesla chargers all over the place.
Yeah, so they got the monopoly, like Telstra had the monopoly of fucking landlines in Australia.
And they're the only company in the world with a gigafactory, or going to have a gigafactory.
So they got the jump on every other car.
Yeah, so
until China makes one a third of the price.
Or even then, China can't produce the batteries to make an electric car.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, man. They say that about everything.
But Tesla's years ahead, and even if they built an electric car, they wouldn't have the charging infrastructure.
So maybe the next war won't be over oil; it'll be over fucking electricity.
Yeah,
lithium.
Lithium's everywhere. It's in the oceans.
Yeah, the seas. There you go. The seas.
Yeah, that's what the South China Sea.
Yeah, man. We just cracked it. Yeah. That's why they're setting up shop in the seas, man.
Speaking of the South China Sea, you know how last week I was talking how they sent the B-1 Lancer?
Yeah.
The super fast bomber? Yeah. So they've just sent the B-2 stealth bomber. That's the one that doesn't have a tail, looks like a UFO. You know, the massive one. They've sent that to Guam as well. So now there's a bunch of B-1 Lancers, super fast bombers. You've got the slower stealth bomber, and then you've also got the B-52 as well. So
just piling them up in this fucking island.
Yeah.
Yeah, because shit's not about to hit the fan. Like,
nah.
What are you talking about?
I don't have anything to worry about. I mean, these planes
just a precaution.
Cost $20 billion each. Like, the government's going to be pretty damn sure before they send them out.
You know,
on a fucking errand to
there was
Guam.
something I wanted to raise. Like, it was just something that I just saw online and it just pissed me off. I was going to see what you guys thought about it. But then, like, you're bringing this up as well. And it just goes back to the whole awareness thing of what people actually talk about in their day-to-day lives, yeah? What I wanted to talk to you guys about was, raise was, I was just flicking through, like, social media again, like standards, and there was this girl's account, right? Some random girl, like, mate of a mate or whatever, just popped up in my search feed. She was 22, and, like, you just tell from the profile thing, and then you look at all the images, and they're all, like, vanity sort of driven images, you know, makeup, face, like, whatever, yada yada. And she was taking photos of, like, syringes, and someone said, well, what are you getting done? It's like, she said Botox. Right? 22 years old, getting Botox done to stem, like, aging. And I thought about it, like you were talking before about, like, we were just talking about expendable income and, like, cost of living, all that shit. I'm like, at 22 years old, you got expendable income to spend on Botox, right? At 22. 22. Can you remember what being 22 was like? I can. I wasn't worried about fucking Botox, man.
My housemate's 21. She has boobs, fake boobs.
Yeah, like,
How much do they cost?
Well, it depends where you go to get them done,
£10,000?
dude. You can go
Yeah.
overseas and get them done in Thailand for fuck all. But then, like, obviously health risks and all that sort of shit, you know, standard facilities, blah, blah, blah. But I know a bunch of people that have gone to Thailand to get it done. Look, dude, getting boobs done is one thing about, like, self-confidence and all that. But Botox, I think, is, like, next level.
Yeah, like this chick probably doesn't have any lines to worry about, but she's just that
Yeah,
deluded.
at 22, like, getting regular fucking jabs of Botox in her face to stem. And I've thought about it. Dude, what would you say? I want to ask you specifically, what would you say if your daughter went to get Botox at 22?
Oh, I'd crack this shit's bad.
What would you say to her?
I'd just be shattered, like, because I want to try and teach her the opposite of that sort of mentality. So
Yeah.
I'd be absolutely shattered.
Don't
That's to think that your little girl is just worried about that. Like, that's, you know, that's kind of sad. And
At 22?
22.
It really irritated me. I'm like,
But I mean, she's young. She doesn't have any wrinkles.
like, you
so-
can spend your money on whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. You know, like, it's not my, I'm not judging her for that. But it's just like, what the fuck's going on through your head at 22? Like, if you looked at her, she was a pretty girl, like, but just looking more and more plastic.
Was she pretty enough, Dim?
Duh. Dude, it's just
spending all that time on social media, just constantly with the same faces put in front of her. She just thinks that that's how you need to be to, like,
getting
to have any
jabs,
self-worth or anything. You need to just,
jabs in the forehead at 22. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's scary, man. Like, for me, like, that was like, whoa.
And, you know, yeah, I tend to think that I've no evidence, but I think that's probably, it's not good for you long term.
Botox. Can't be, man. You're pumping fucking chemicals straight into your forehead.
It's bacteria.
paralyzing your,
Like deadly bacteria, and
Yeah.
you're pumping it into your face.
yeah, it paralyzes your cells or whatever.
Hey, have either of you guys seen the movie Death Becomes Her?
Death becomes her. Is that, like, pretty old?
Yeah, Bruce Willis, Meryl Streep,
Meryl Streep, yeah.
Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Death Becomes Her?
No, I think you're right. Death becomes her.
Yeah, it is. Death Becomes Her. Like, yesterday, like this is fucked. Like, yesterday, like, it was weird because, like, all these things happened yesterday. I was just, like, on edge, man. If you saw me at, work, I was just fucking, like, I was on a mission, right? I was driving to Oakley or something yesterday, and, like, as I'm sitting on Princess Highway, I just see this fucking, like, someone honking bad, right, at the intersection. And I see this old couple in a car just sort of cruise through the intersection. I see this guy behind them fucking, like, yelling and pointing at his windscreen, like, bad, like, screaming, like, from behind them. And I'm like, fuck.
Pure rage.
Cunts just raging it up. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, like, fuck, guy's a lunatic. And I'm like, hang on, man, I'd probably be doing the same thing. I spent all day at work talking about how I was going to, like, burn the place down. And, you know, like, I was in a mood. Someone asked me, how's your day been? And I just looked at him. I think it was at Safeway or something. I can't remember who I was like, how's your day been? I just looked at him. And the back of my head, I was just saying to myself, like, this is what I wanted to tell him. I wanted to tell him that, well, I spent the better half of the morning thinking about burning myself and then burning everything around me. And then, like, I just had these dark, dark thoughts, man. And then I just coaxed myself to just say, yeah, I'm good. How are you? You know, like,
I'm fine. Doing good. Jimmy's happy.
yeah, that's it, man. Fuck, I've actually forgotten what I was talking about. I've completely spaced. I've had too much codeine today. I'm fucking, I actually want to play it back just to hear what the fuck I'd started ranting on about. No, I've blanked. I've completely spaced.
I've got a little bit of outrage for you over here, Dim.
Oh, over what?
So I want to talk about gas and electricity again. So an article came out, I think yesterday. So Japan buys its liquid natural gas from Australia.
Liquid natural gas?
Yeah.
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 I mentioned it ages ago that we export so much of it.
Okay, so in Australia, on average, so this is per gigajoule. In Adelaide, you're going to pay $13.90. Brisbane, $10.12. Sydney, $9.62. Anyone want to guess what they pay for it in Japan? The gas that is mined in Australia and shipped to Japan.
This is actually something that I've wanted to look into for years because it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Yeah, so Japan pays $8.42.
Hang on, wait.
So they pay less
Less than anyone.
for the gas, like, that's mined in a different hemisphere
And it's been sent over.
to Japan.
Yeah, dude, that that just reminds me of when I was in Cambodia, man. I was in Siem Reap, Cambodia, walking along Christmas Day, like in the middle of the night, with my mate and this random bird, and we hit the 7-Eleven looking for beer.
we found VB cheaper in Cambodia at 7-Eleven than it was at the local bottler here.
Yeah.
And I lost my shit. I lost it. How?
And it's the same with, electricity. So remember last time I was talking about how, the retailers will just jack up the price of electricity. So most of what you pay is just the service fee, not the actual electricity.
Well, admin fees.
So this is it was a study commissioned by GetUp. So they're a pretty left-leaning organisation, but I have no reason to believe it's dishonest. So they looked at the big three energy retailers. So in New South Wales, Victoria, and South Australia, what they can charge you is not regulated. So they can charge you whatever you want. In the ACT, it is regulated. So this is just the retail aspect of your power bill. So not the electricity, just what you pay to get it delivered. So in New South Wales, it was $444 a year. Victoria, $485 a year. South Australia, $650 a year.
A big fucking jump.
Yeah.
Cop that, South Australia.
So that's just to get the electricity to your front door. That's not what you're paying for the electricity. Guess what it is in the ACT?
Zero.
I have to charge you something for the retail.
10.
I'd imagine something fuck all.
It's $225.
Yeah, okay. No worries. How's that fucking fair?
Yeah. So, like, almost a third what they pay in South Australia. Less than half of what we pay in Vic.
Victoria, yeah.
So that's not the cost of electricity. That is just the service fee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fucking Mason convention in the ACT, man.
Bad. So...
But that sort of shit pisses me off, like, because there's no excuse for it.
No. It's
same exact fucking service.
So 90% of the electricity in Victoria is provided by AGL, Energy Australia, or Origin.
Yep.
So like I've got harped on about this, but check your power bill and look at changing power. So you're with Red Energy.
Oh, yeah, whoever it was.
I'm with Origin or whatever.
Yeah. So you're one of these, probably. I don't know, looking to changing it.
That's fucked. Like,
yeah, I saw an ad for Red Energy in Chadstone today, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Chadstone get all its electricity through Red Energy. So Red Energy, 100% Australian owned. You know, the money's staying in the country. So it's not the case with these three. It
boggles the fucking mind, man. When you just like, when you go shopping and you're used to paying whatever you pay, for your staples, and then you go somewhere else and suddenly there's a big fucking difference. Yeah. Like in just your staples, and you're like, what the fuck? Why is this either so much more cheap, so much more expensive? Why is it so much cheaper? How do they justify that, like that jump? Like, I understand you have
Why does it cost 3 times as much to provide electricity to South Australians?
That's what I'm saying.
It does to the people in the ACT.
Are the houses that much further away from, like, where the plants are? Can't be, like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's that...
It's not like they're paying people significantly more in South Australia to, like, post your bill.
Yeah, they deliver it to you on a scroll, on a velvet pillow.
Silver platter.
Chauffeur. You know what I mean? Just, that's the power bill. Limo rocks up. That, like, I get profit, I get, the hustle, I get all that shit, like, it's fine, you have to upmark to make a percentage on, keep the wheels turning, I get it, but when it's completely unjust like that, it just makes like, what the fuck is the plan? Like, where are you coming from? Who are you?
Like how?
Yeah. How? Why? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Man, I've asked that question for years, man. Like the one thing I used to spook all the casuals out with back at my old job, man. I used to, like, cause I worked with all the backpackers, like a lot of them were from Spain or South America, Central America. And for a long time, I used to shout "por qué," which means why in Spanish. Like, I'd just climb off a fork, just look at the ground, just scream out "por qué." They'd laugh. I started doing it with Jamie and Louise at work as well. Like years ago. Like, if you always see us, I'm either saying "por qué" or I'm saying "burro." Burro means donkey in Spanish. Like, we just refer to each other as donkeys.
We're donkeys.
Yeah. Whenever you hear me saying something Spanish to like one of those boys, I'm usually saying something like "I'm a donkey for life" or "why," because we deserve it, all in Spanish. No? But it's like, it's the eternal fucking pessimistic, like, questioning the system, questioning that, why. But sometimes you just have to ask why.
Like, seriously, why?
Why is it like this?
Why are private schools getting more money from the government?
It's right out of my mouth.
Man, perfect. Fucking perfect.
Why are we paying more for Australian gas than they are in Japan?
Why?
That's shit you should know, man. Like, but they'll never answer. Like, and if we ask the question,
Because they can, Dim.
yeah, because they can. And then at the same time, it's like, well, why are you being a cunt? Because. Why? Because I can.
Yeah.
This isn't Facebook, because I can. Go fuck yourself. I don't care. Dude, that's perfect examples, man. Why are public schools getting less money from the government than private schools? Why are the Japanese buying our natural gas cheaper than we're fucking buying it? As consumers, not as in wholesalers. Yeah. How, like, those are two very valid questions. Who do we go for answers on that?
Yeah.
Honestly, like,
You can't, like...
That's what's also frustrating about the system is you can't get these answers. Like,
no, because they just look at you like you're a fucking heretic or a communist or something, you know?
Yeah.
You're banished.
Yeah.
But I put it out there to anyone listening to this fucking podcast. Someone out there, give me the answers to those two questions which were fucking raised. Why are public schools getting less support from the government than private schools, considering all our tax-paying dollars go to the fucking government, you'd think, to help state-run shit? Yeah? And why are the Japanese paying less for natural gas that comes out from Australia than Australians themselves? Two very valid questions. Two questions, like the gas one, man, I've been asking since I started driving, because my first car was dual fuel, and I noticed the fucking price, just the price of gas. Like, every time the war started, yeah? Like, when did the war in Afghanistan start? 2004?
No, that was Iraq.
Iraq, sorry, not Afghanistan. Yeah.
So Afghan was like... Yeah,
earlier.
Afghan was like 3 days after September.
Yeah. That was a lot earlier. Yeah, so Iraq was 2004, yeah? And I got my license around then, and that's when the price of fuel started, like, you know, when it just started becoming ludicrous? Like, and then we hit the dollar mark, and then it was like the mental barrier of the dollar mark, like, left us.
Yeah.
So it's like, we can charge $1.60 for fuel. Like, fuck them.
Yeah.
Remember we were paying $1.60 for fuel?
dude, when I see $1.20 now, I'm like, woo, fill up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw $1.16 yesterday and I lost my shit. I had no money, but I filled up anyway. I'm like, that's money in the bank, man.
Yeah.
That's as good as money.
Yeah.
That's a full tank of fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah? But, like, think about it, right? I've been asking that question about the natural gas. I go, why is natural gas going up every fucking day when the war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan is over fucking oil, not natural gas? We ship more natural gas than any other country. Like, seriously, we are up there as a resource.
And most of our oil comes from Australia as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could be completely self-sufficient. Like, Australia could be self-sufficient as far as natural resources go, man.
Oh, we're probably one of the only countries that could.
Yeah, dude, we've got meat. We've got meat.
We've got food. We've got minerals.
We've got minerals. We've got fucking all the natural resources.
You've got coal, petrol.
Yeah, trees. Like, we haven't chopped
Sunlight,
everything down yet.
Yeah.
We've got sun. Man, could you imagine all the wind turbines and fucking solar panels we could install out in the Kimberleys?
Just in the middle of Australia, solar panels.
Just solar panels, like, charging the entire fucking nation. We could do all of that, but no. Do you know what we choose to do? My relatives up in Mildura, man, yeah? I remember years ago, they told me, like, my uncle, man, one of my lasting memories of him was him telling me that they couldn't grow oranges anymore because they couldn't sell them for enough worth their effort.
Worth the time,
It wasn't the point. So where are we getting oranges from? He goes, where? Brazil. Yeah, what do you mean?
I mean, you see it at work, don't you? You pay attention to where our lemons come from?
California.
Yeah.
Dude.
Straight on.
Dude, he said it's cheaper, marginally cheaper, to buy our oranges and shit like that from Brazil and California. But we're selling our oranges to Japan for like a mint.
Yeah.
You try to get fresh fruit in Japan and it's like impossible. Like, it costs an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Like, they see like an orange, it's like, fuck. Do you know what I mean?
So
Because how does that make fucking sense?
Yeah.
You can't ask the questions because then you're branded a fucking like
loony bin.
Like, you guys would cop it as well, especially you, Johnny, because like you question everything, man. Like, just when you talk like about these sort of issues with like your friends and they just stare at you like you're out of your fucking mind.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, like,
I know that.
yeah.
Really well.
What difference does it make? What do you care? What do I care? We could be living in a fucking utopia.
Oh, we could have it so good.
Yeah, we could have, like, especially as Australians. We don't have fucking war here. You know, we try to be a multicultural nation so we can all get along, you know, and we're literally like a safe haven for refugees, you know. Every time there's a fucking war, people come here because they know they can get away and won't be persecuted. And we don't know for how much longer.
Much.
Yeah. Much.
Won't be persecuted much.
Much, yeah. But go figure that out, man. Like, in the last month, we've talked about, like, green energy, we've talked about, like, all this shit, but then, like, I mean, today is, like, the fucking final cog that's just going to set off the mass, like, nuttiness, especially in my head anyway.
Why the fuck are state schools getting less money from the government compared to private schools? When I work like a dog to pay tax, so my nephew in 5 years can go to any fucking state school he wants, and his parents don't have to pay for shit. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Well, what am I paying money for?
Yeah, why are you paying taxes to send some snooty Camberwell kid to, private...
By the little kids in fucking St. Kevin's.
They look down on you.
Yeah.
She's like, shut up, I'm paying for your education.
I'm paying for your education, you little fuck.
Just imagine Dim, like, riding a push bike, just
He just stops. He's just like, nah.
bits of spit flying out of his mouth, like, landing on children's faces.
Yeah, man. I'll go to apeshit town on that shit, man.
All the kids are crying.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking, man. Like, that's infuriating. And I hate it when people look at us like, oh, you know, what do you care? What do you care? What's it to you? Just do your fucking job and just shut up.
And it's going back to what I was talking about on week one, like having a dental plan, putting that in Medicare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to cost a hell of a lot less than sending that kid to a private school. Like, so, and it's all those upper class guys that don't want to pay for people like they don't want to pay for our medical care.
Yeah.
But mind you, we're the ones paying to send their kids to school. Like,
yeah.
Go on. A little bit of give and take here.
No give and take. No give and take, man. All fucking take.
Yeah.
Actually,
we pay taxes. It's not like, the bracket we're in is 32.5, and the top bracket is 45.
Yeah.
And you've got to be earning 180k to get there.
Yeah.
So, these kids sending, as a percentage, they're not going to be paying a whole lot more tax than us. 37, probably.
I've got to find this fact.
That's like the most frustrating thing is like I know that it could be better, like things could be so much better for everybody, and there are means for it to be that way. Yeah. But instead it's just this divide of, wealthy and poor or whatever, and it's just...
Yeah. Well, I'm really big on having a strong middle class, like, because the middle class spend their money and contribute to the economy. They don't have $300 million worth of $100 bills stashed under their pillow.
Do you want to laugh?
Like,
Dude, this is something I read online a couple of days ago, and I was spewing because I thought I'd remember it, and I put it aside, but I didn't. I just remembered that I had to look it up. Education, yeah? We're talking about education. Education in Cuba. Yeah? Cuba's like the bane of the fucking existence, compared to capitalist America and all that sort of shit, Cuba's just this stink. And I can give you so many nice stories about Cuba, like coming through my old man and people that have traveled there. Get this, yeah? Education in Cuba. I'm reading this straight from Wiki, but it's still it's presenting the same facts that I sort of read online on something else. Has been a highly ranked system for many years, and the University of Havana was founded in 1727. Number of other well-established colleges and universities, blah, 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 blah. Following the revolution, Castro administration nationalized all educational systems and created a system operated entirely by the government. Right? So every educational fucking building is all government. Nationalized. Yeah? Strong ideological content is present, with the Constitution stating that educational and cultural policy is based on Marxist ideology. Right? So they're communist grounded school.
So there's propaganda in there, but...
what we would consider propaganda.
Yeah,
right?
But everything propaganda isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No, all right? It's just...
Like, having people, sing the national anthem with their hands on the chest is propaganda.
It's propaganda,
it's not a bad thing.
No, it builds nationalism and identity at the same time, right? And something to stand by. Look at it this way, Arthur. I mean, we just asked the question, why are we paying more money for private schools than state schools? How the fuck did we get to that?
Yeah.
And no one knows. No one knows. If I said that to, like, say, my mates who might have kids that have kids in state schools, they'd fucking lose their shit. As taxpayers, you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, Johnny, like, if you found this out, like, say, in a couple of years when your little one's set to go to school, what would you say? Like, you're angry now. Like, imagine in a couple of years if you had 3 kids in school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fucking lose it. Yeah, no shit, yeah? Right? So, yeah, communist schools, propaganda, pro-communism.
And meanwhile, a bunch of people who got free university education made the decision that, no, you should pay for your university education.
Yeah, exactly.
Educated for free at Sydney University, one of the best universities in the country.
Yeah. Comparable on an international level.
I want to pay slightly less tax, so you have to pay for your own university now.
Yeah. Shit. But that's okay. Everyone's like, yeah, no, that's fine. They're good for us. Yeah, go fuck yourselves, right?
Yeah.
Get this, yeah? In 1900, all right, Cuba had a literacy rate of 36.1% to 42, right? Depending on the source, this is in 1900. By the early 1900s, Cuba had a strong education system, but it was only attended by half of the country's children because schools were not accessible to the poorest Cubans, and this resulted obviously in low literacy rate for rural areas compared to cities, blah, blah, blah. Before 1959, of the Cubans over the age of 15, 22% were found to be illiterate, and 60% of the country was found to be semi-illiterate because there were still rural Cubans who had a third grade education or less, right? Dude, after the revolution, the government placed the reconstruction of the education system as a top priority, right? Because they're like, fuck this.
As it should be.
Yeah, all these farmers, poor kids, we're fucked. Like, we need educated people. Elementary school, 5 key objectives were devised and used to frame the whole system up. Elementary school became mandated and available for all children. Many children who lived in poverty were now available to acquire an education for free, providing them with an opportunity that eluded them before the revolution. All right? Restructuring, reopening schools, they focused on a huge literacy problem. By 1959, 817 literacy centers were opened, right? So in like literally fucking that year, like 2 years, Dude, if you scroll down, the level of achievement, right? 1998 study by the UNESCO reported that the Cuban students showed a high level of education achievement. Cuban 3rd and 4th graders scored 350 points, 100 points above the regional average in tests of basic language and mathematical skills, right? Get this, yeah? Hang on. You're going to die. This is the one that killed me. Hang on. Education expenditures, continue to receive high priority as Cuba spends 10% of its central budget on education. 10% compared. You tell me, what do you reckon the UK and the States spend? Go with the UK first. Cuba, right?
10.
The hole in the earth, they're fucking
10% of their budget.
10% of the money they have in the fucking piggy bank goes to schools and education, right? That's Cuba. What do you reckon the UK spends?
I was looking at it on my phone, so I have a pretty good idea what Australia spends, so I'll let Johnny guess.
5%.
That your final answer?
Less. 3%.
It's 4% in the UK. What do you reckon the States spend?
Oh,
of their budget?
That's got to be low. 3.
2.
Wow.
Yeah.
How
2,
dude.
Yeah. And he said,
I think it's about 5% in Australia.
5%.
That's
the
everything.
Cubans are putting all their money in educating their people, man.
And it works.
Yeah. And like my dad, had said to me when he had gone, right? I don't know. I don't think I've said this story, like on the podcast. My dad had gone to Cuba fucking years ago, like maybe 10 years now. I can't remember. And he said he was just sitting like at, some restaurant, hotel, just, having a steak, whatever, just chilling. And he says, he was just looking at this dude standing on the corner next, like just a bit past him. Yeah. There's an older dude. And he said he was just like dancing, like on his, like just on his own. He was just sort of like shuffling, like in place. He has this massive grin on his face. And my old man thought he was drunk, like, or maybe like some local loon or some shit. He's just looking at him like, what the fuck's this guy doing?
Yeah.
What? And then he just paid attention to it a bit and then like sort of took himself out of his head for a second, just looked at the whole thing. And you realized the guy was dancing to some music that was playing like out of the hotel, like just from a speaker that was near him. It was like Cuban, like, music just going off. And this old dude was just dancing, like just shuffling, like, because he was happy.
Yeah.
And no one, everyone around him, like, didn't look at the guy like he was out of his mind or anything. They were just like, guy's just dancing because he's happy.
Yeah.
He's just chilled.
Yeah.
He's just chilling.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, if I used to get looks when I used to fucking two-step in shops, because, like, I'm in a music store. I used to go into, like, HMV and stuff, man, and I'd hear some tune and I'd just fucking start shuffling.
Oh, you're a druggo.
Dude, people would look at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm just fucking bouncing, man. I love this tune.
Yeah.
It's my favourite song.
Yeah. I remember watching a documentary on Cuba, and there were just people dance in the streets. It's high on life. Everyone's happy, whatever.
Yeah. There was the quote that I was actually...
It's probably not a perfect country, but... Yeah, I mean... you look at the Gonski reforms are going to cost us $2 billion. And, they were allegedly going to reform our public education. Couldn't afford it. Nah, too much. I mean, it's only 5% of our budget.
Like you said before, like, it's proven that the longer you stay in school, you're less
Better
likely
outcomes, yeah.
to commit crime or whatever. So if the government knows that, why aren't they making that a fucking priority, you know? Like,
Yeah. And it's especially the case in Aboriginal communities.
Mm.
Like last week, the whole issue was that Bill Leak cartoon.
Yeah.
And those kids Aboriginal kids in the Northern Territory in prison. So 97% of prisoners in the Northern Territory are Aboriginal. And, you know, there are some communities that just don't have access to education.
Yep.
And it's not gonna cost us a huge amount of money to go in there and give these people a school.
That's what's going to help them, like, ultimately. And
Why are we spending $100K a year locking them up when we could spend a fraction of that just, yeah.
why?
And there's also, Aboriginal people the rates of disability are really high as well. And it's kind of scary. It's called trachoma. It's an infection of the eye. And if you get repeated infections, eventually your eyelashes will start to grow inwards and start to scrape away your cornea, turning you blind.
What? Sounds horrible.
So I can't remember the exact rates, but it's like 30% of Aboriginals in remote communities get it. In some communities, 30%. So you've got, and you know how you fix this? Antibiotics, and teaching kids how to wash their face.
Yeah.
Like it's basic hygiene.
Yeah.
And it's the same as it's called otis media, where your ear gets infected. And if you get it enough, it'll perforate the eardrum, which will send you deaf. Again, antibiotics and basic hygiene. These things don't cost a whole lot of money. And yeah, they should know, but they don't, because it wasn't that long ago we had the stolen generation.
Mm.
And so you've got a bunch of kids who, you know, his parents and grandparents and ancestors were significantly disadvantaged. And like, it's not a nice thing to say, but if you're a shithead, you're going to have shithead kids.
Yep.
And when you get treated like we treated Aboriginals up until very recently, you're going to have poor life choices. Your kids are going to have...
nothing's going to change.
Yeah, nothing's going to change. So you've got these kids born into really low, almost poverty circumstances. And then they've got trachoma, which will turn them blind, painfully blind. Like imagine your eyelashes scraping against your cornea, turning you blind.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
These kids are going deaf. And some of them don't have access to education, full stop. And the ones that do are sitting there, half blind and half deaf.
That's so fucked up, man.
And
we'll give $10 billion to the private school kids, though.
yeah. And the Turnbull government is talking about a $50 billion tax cut, a third of which is going to go overseas, $7 billion of which is going to go to the big four banks.
For what?
Yeah, for what? When you've got blind and deaf kids. Yeah. And you know, I would love it. I would love for Aboriginal people to just get up and fix it themselves. But they're not going to. You just can't throw a couple of bootstraps at them and yell, get a job.
No, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. These people have been damaged, and it's not going to cost us a huge amount of money to fix it.
Compared to national spending on what, man?
Compared to giving $7 billion tax cut to the big four banks. compared to putting them in jail.
Yeah.
Like I had the stats last week. I don't have them on me now, but it is directly correlated. The earlier a kid drops out of school, the more likely he is to get arrested. Health outcomes are directly correlated to getting arrested and charged.
Like,
yeah, so
all this stuff, man.
So go around, put these kids in school, teach the families basic hygiene, and it's not that easy, yeah, because, I mean, they've got no reason to trust the government.
No, fuck no.
I mean, if the government's going to come around and tell you to wash their face, you can't just hand out a pamphlet, say, this is how you wash your face, because they're not going to do it. So it's a little bit more complicated than that. But they've done studies. They've gone into communities with a relatively limited amount of money, and they've had progress. They've cut, I can't remember the exact figures, but I think they cut trachoma by 50%. Just because they went in there and they told them, wash your face.
Yeah.
And then
life skills that
so
would have not gone translated along
that makes sense
way.
to us because we grew up with families that knew the importance of hygiene and stuff. But
they were concepts, man. You need to understand the concept.
Yeah.
Before anything else. Once you understand the concept, then you start working backwards and building up to it, man.
And we were taught that in kids, but they just don't know.
Yeah.
And there's reasons for that. Like, it's not that these people are lazy, it's just that they don't know.
They don't fucking know.
Because Yeah.
Dude, how much crime do we let off because a person didn't know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Didn't know. Yeah, no, that's excusable. Here you go. Here's your hotel for the next 10 years. Enjoy. You know?
Yeah.
It's that's one thing, man, like, especially with this podcast, like, it's just a voice, you know? It's a voice for all this sort of shit. And it infuriates me that people don't want to know, don't care about all this sort of shit. Like, I'm not preaching communism. Like, I'm not. I'm really not preaching communism, man. Because then I would have to give up a lot of my fucking lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't explain. I'd be held accountable for a lot of shit that I wouldn't have any answers for. I'm not preaching communism, man. And I wouldn't bother. And like, dude, you're a left dude, but you're still talking.
I'm still a capitalist.
Yeah.
Through and through. Like, to me, capitalism is, based on your ability.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you could be the most able-bodied person, you could be smart, quick-witted.
Yeah.
But if you're born into some circumstances where your parents can't afford to send you to a private school or can't afford to send you to school full stop, then you're going to be significantly disadvantaged.
Yeah.
So I'm all about bringing that baseline up to a fair level.
That's exactly what I wanted to say, man. Like, I don't believe that people should just get handouts just based on, nothing, you know what I mean? Oh, I don't want to work. You can have everything I have anyway, you know what I mean? It's not about that. You got to pull your own weight. But it's the questions of, like, the natural gas and the public schools and, like, all that shit where that does not make sense. And it's it's the fucking propaganda wool, man, just pulled over your fucking eyes. Yeah. And people don't care.
People have, and we can afford to, for every Australian to live in good circumstances.
Yeah, we can. That's the other thing.
That's the most frustrating.
The fact that we live in Australia. We don't live in the third world.
We're not talking about, these people having a good car or a good house. We're talking about
the basic.
Being able to send their kid to a good school, being able to go to the doctor. Yeah. Being able to get their teeth checked,
Yeah. Basic human fucking needs, man. Yeah. Basic human needs. That's it.
And these things don't cost a whole lot of money, but somehow we get $7 billion tax cut to the big four banks.
For no reason other than,
Yeah, because they made such little money.
Yeah. That's a kicker though, that whole Malcolm Turnbull thing, like getting free education. Yeah. Right? Malcolm Turnbull got a free education at a fucking incredible school, and then he decides to say, no, everyone's paying for their own education.
You think he might appreciate it, realise how beneficial it was?
That alone, isn't that enough to have him shot down? Can't someone just stand up and say, hey, listen, Malcolm, fuck you. Like, what's good for the goose is clearly not good for the rest of us dumb cunts. Like, isn't that enough?
And then Tony Abbott's daughter got a scholarship under questionable circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because... So allegedly she wasn't a great student. So allegedly she got that scholarship because she was Tony Abbott's daughter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's fair.
I'm not going to say that that's 100%, but
it's still something.
Yeah. I mean, contacts matter, and Tony Abbott had a lot of contacts.
But think of it like that, Like, you got Malcolm Turnbull doing that sort of shit, right? Then you got, last week we were talking about the senators for the One Nation, that one's, fighting...
doesn't want to be a part of the system.
Yeah, one's part of the... One doesn't believe in the system.
He was on Q&A. Did any of you guys see that?
Oh, was that this week?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I read about it.
Pretty funny, man.
They put him to the grill, man.
Put him through the ringers?
Oh, it was fucking hilarious. He had trying to climate change,
Yeah.
They had a fucking they had a dude, an actual a
scientist from the UK. One of them TV scientists.
Prestigious, scientist, man, with, a claim.
Like what we were saying, showing him the graphs,
literally, he pulls out a sheet of A4, sheet of paper, and he's points to it, and he's like, okay, show me how it doesn't get any warmer. Because that's the thing, it hasn't gotten any warmer since 1982.
Yeah, but
and the
it
guy's
has.
See, this is 1982. And this is here.
Where we measured the temperature.
And then this Malcolm Roberts guy is like, oh yeah, but NASA's playing with the figures.
Yeah, that was the other thing. NASA's just coming up with fucked up numbers.
And he's not like, hold on, but it's not just NASA. It's all of them.
It's every fucking lab currently monitoring emissions and climate change
They're all wrong.
in the world. They're all wrong because you say so, just based on that.
Yeah.
Wait, which guy was it him he's the guy that doesn't believe in the system?
Malcolm Roberts, yeah, same guy.
He's the one that was on Ponder. Okay. Yeah. Dude, I read it and I was just like, this cunt is off his fucking head. But he's in Senate. Like, how are
Getting
these...
paid $200K a year.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, how can people like this be put in these positions and no one questions it? No one gives a fuck. But we're wasting our time.
And if you want to have a conversation about human-caused global warming, I'm right there. I'll have that conversation. But you can't go up there and say it hasn't got any warmer since 1982 when there is no evidence to suggest that.
Just going
you
off
can't
how
just
he
make
feels.
stuff. Yeah, I feel like it hasn't got any warmer. Yeah, good on
It
you.
wasn't this hot this summer. No.
And then just demand. It's like I haven't seen any empirical evidence. Have you looked?
Once again, just check out the graph over here.
Just look. Like I went on a Facebook rant because that's what I do. I vent.
Dude, I used to be you like 10 years ago, man. Then I just gave up because I was too tired. And people just didn't care. Like, honestly, people did not care, man. They don't want to hear it. They just want to fucking get their Netflix and just pump a bit more Botox in their fucking foreheads and not give a fuck. They don't care.
Yeah.
And it's really sad.
I'll give you the short version of my some, not all, empirical evidence that humans are responsible for global warming. Humans are responsible for the increased amount of CO2 in the atmosphere. So we can add up the CO2 we created from burning petrol, coal, and other materials, and we get a good estimate of how much CO2 is in the atmosphere. We produce much more CO2 than is in the atmosphere. So CO2 in the atmosphere only accounts for 40% of the stuff we burn. The rest is absorbed by the planet. So 30% gets absorbed by the oceans, making them acidic and killing the Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah.
You can test that.
But how?
Well, you can measure how much CO2 is in the atmosphere, and you can add up all the carbon and coal we burn. Yeah, so that's empirical evidence. Can't argue. It's not an opinion.
Yeah, that's fact.
we can measure the CO2 in the ocean. We can measure it in the air. And we can have a good idea how much we produce. Greenhouse gases absorb infrared radiation. So, talking about dangerous beauty things, you can go get carbon laser therapy. Uses CO2. The same principle as how it absorbs it in the atmosphere, because CO2 will absorb infrared radiation and kind of just vibrate it back out. But you can go get carbon CO2 laser therapy or burn off the top layer of your skin. So we have a good idea how it works, how CO2 absorbs radiation. But at the end of the day, you can put it in a glass tube, shine a light through it, and see what comes out the other side. And you can see this from space. So I linked to a graph that looks at the light coming off the planet, and you can see the dip right where you would expect CO2 to be. Yeah. And then I just went about how 400 parts per million was significant, and I referenced the TV. Yeah. So, like that's I came up with that off the top of my head.
Yeah, you're not paid to fucking research the shit. You have your laptop and you have your phone. Like, that's it.
Yeah, we can test this. And you can make arguments that it's not enough CO2 or, it's not responsible for the warming, but to say there's no empirical evidence...
You're a fucking moron.
Nah.
Yeah, and who's to blame? Oh, NASA's tampering with statistics.
Yeah.
What are you on about?
Yeah.
But you don't believe in the system to begin with, but you're trying to fucking get a job in the system.
Yeah.
But that kind of hypocrisy, which is fucking there in your face, why is no one, why aren't people burning, buildings over this? You know what I mean?
You want to know how many,
Seriously?
You want to know how many people actually voted for Malcolm Roberts?
All of Queensland.
Yeah, I have a guess. How many actual votes?
I have no idea, man.
I'm done with guessing. I'm way off always. So.
77.
Oh, yeah, I read that. Yeah. Now that you just said it. I remember seeing that number and I went, what do you mean? As if we couldn't get 77 people to vote for us.
Yeah, so most people just voted for Pauline Hanson's party.
Yeah.
And the actual only 77 people bothered to vote for him.
Yeah. But he got in.
He got in.
Dude, we have 100 likes on Facey. Okay. We actually have more supporters than this cunt.
Mr. Roberts.
Seriously. You want empirical evidence of whether we can start a party or not?
Here's our likes.
Here's our SoundCloud feed. Here's our iTunes feed.
Yeah.
Here's our plays, 2,000 since, May. Dude, there you go.
Oh, you should shout out to our listener as well.
Oh, yeah, dude. She's actually supported us since the very, very start. One of 5 people has vocally supported us. We were talking about that feminism. Oh no, what were we talking about last week?
Whether or not it's easier, or the pay gap.
The pay
basically.
gap. Yeah, we're talking about the pay gap. Yeah,
And you were talking about how a girl got a job that you couldn't have gotten.
Yeah, there's no way I could actually get that job. Yeah, to just shout out to she was saying she'll give us there've been studies done that have shown that I'll pretty much read her email verbatim. Yeah, it just says I'll drop a line to girls' perspective on the feminism and the pay gap thing. There've been studies done that show that blonde women or attractive women are more likely to get hired for jobs over less attractive women who are better qualified and get paid more. She goes, I'm a typically Greek-looking, average size 12, 174 centimeter tall girl, and I've experienced a hot, skinny, tentacular blonde hired as a junior assistant to my role, getting paid $6,000 more a year just because the male manager wanted her there. Obviously, I wasn't supposed to find this out. In regards to the view, it comes down to your ability to negotiate, and we're at a disadvantage before we've even walked through the meeting room door. Left the same above-mentioned job for the exact same role, but with $12,000 a year more, plus fuel, phone, and other benefits, where the managers happen to be female. Surprised much, because when I tried to negotiate my salary with the reputable, and I might add larger and financially stronger company I was going in prepared with notes and a strong case, not 2 days before a male colleague who was less qualified than I was with 1 year experience against my 5, again for a similar but lower workload role, got his pay rise. His salary before the pay increase was already significantly more than both mine and a female colleague's who'd been in her role for 7 years. When I walked into my meeting and mentioned the salary increase that I'd been promised, I got asked by a male manager, direct quote, "Do you really want to be that difficult bitch? I love having you working here and I'll give you more money, but the big bosses will just find a younger girl," I'm 25 mind you, "who'll do it for less than you already are. And if you rock the boat, do you want to risk that?" Like no shit. And then, our political correspondent.
So I did a quick Google search and I found an article from Italy. So they sent out 10,000 identical resumes, but they changed the name and the photo. So the average callback rate across all CVs was 30%. For attractive women, it was 54%. For attractive men, it was 47%. For unattractive women, the callback rate was only 7%, while for men it was 26%.
So even ugly dudes are pulling better than ugly birds.
Yeah. So I said, like rule 1 of life, be attractive. Rule 2, don't be ugly.
Pretty much.
So yeah, I mean that's really bad for women, but like even for men, like ugly guys, less than half as likely to get a callback. So
yeah,
and I
blame the Italians for that one.
That's Italy, but that kind of thing was mirrored in a lot of other countries.
Yeah, you mirror it, man. Like
yeah, so there's a pay gap, which is debatable. We talked about last episode, so you can listen to that.
Pay gap and opportunities, man.
Yeah,
that's it. Not just pay gap, just opportunities.
Opportunities.
Who gets the job over the other cunt?
Yeah.
Just gymnastics in general. Like,
why?
I just love it, man. I just think it's amazing what these people can do.
As in physically?
Physically. Like, I was watching the beam last night. You know, where they do the moves on the beam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking absolutely amazing.
It's all just, like
10 centimeters wide, and they're doing like double
flips and
through the
shit
air
like
landing.
that.
Like it just,
Dude,
it's
go
so
to the
cool,
circus.
Man. So cool.
You want to see like trip that shit? Go to the circus.
Like Cirque du Soleil or something.
Anything. Forget Cirque du Soleil. Go to like your grassroots circus, man. You know, the Bond Brothers or some shit.
The one I went to was a bit.
Yeah, you sketchy. They just got a guy doing 3-card mon. Like, just your card, any card.
Some overweight guy, like half John Dunn clown face.
It's got a hose just spraying the crowd. Look what
like
you're doing, dude.
The natural joy has disappeared years ago, and he's just clearly drunk.
Carney's just moving along.
Gymnastics. The rings as well.
It's pretty funny, like, how we sit here and criticize, like, a lot of shit, like armchair critics. But then you think about it, like, seriously, like, the guy's on a fucking balance beam doing, like, triple fucking volts. You know what I mean? He fucks up one of it. It's like, what a dickhead. Like, dude.
Pathetic.
Yeah, I saw an incredible meme, and it was it was something from the Olympics, and I think it was a gymnastics one or something. And it's like, he's a guy, like, you know, fucking up a vault off, meeting like a world record, like on some thing. And I'm just sitting there, he's got like this kid like with a mouthful of Pringles. He's just like, oh, what a loser. Cause he's like,
Perfect.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I said to my girlfriend, like, I couldn't even run across that beam.
oh, dude,
Like,
you
I could
walk.
not even. I'd struggle walking across the beam. These bitches
Before,
are doing
like, yeah,
flips.
your knee buckled out, or you just fucking got a shiver and just shit yourself.
Just
and
get
fell
scared
off.
and bail off into a roll.
No, dude, it's the Olympics themselves, man. Like, just the feats that you have. Like, you think about it, man. Generally, you have to be at the top of your game out of like your nation to get there.
Yeah.
And then like go through how many qualifiers to actually qualify to get to the fucking Olympics.
Top of the top.
Yeah, you are the best of the fucking best. Like, there is no one, like, you know, Usain Bolt, man, like, you look at him, it's like, that man is the fastest man on the planet.
Yeah.
There aren't any cunts that can run faster than him. If they are, they're off the grid.
That's kind of cool.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's a big achievement. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, man. Like, are you serious? You're like, you are the best? Like, that's it. You're the quickest. You're the strongest. Like, that's insane in its feet, like itself. But people, like, yeah, whatever. And that's what infuriates me the most about how, like, in this country, like, we place so much emphasis on sport and all that sort of shit, but the funding, like, it's not divvied out, like, evenly. That's actually something I want to bring up about funding, how much we spend on, do you know what we spend on our sports programs?
Like, I know Olympians are always struggling and shit, right? To get where they need to be.
I remember years ago, it was either the women's netball, women's hockey players, so one of them, I think I've mentioned it before, they were all like on full-time jobs. They were like teachers and admin assistants and shit just to make training.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? You just won a gold against the world's best.
But AFL, like, base player, get like 80, 70, 80
Franklin,
grand.
what did Franklin make? $1 million a year for 7 years? Or what's Franklin's salary?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
Swimmers would be.
Swimmer, yeah, I fucking read hang on a second. I've got to find this fucking article.
So going back to gymnasts real quick, if you look up Simone Biles from the
Biles.
States.
Yeah, I watched her. Yeah.
Yeah. 4 gold medals, 1 bronze. Like, it's amazing. She's, like, the stuff, I watched her floor show thing. Just amazing.
Yep.
Like, double backflips, twist, and just lands and whatever.
She actually made a mistake on the beam.
Did she?
Yeah.
Ooh.
She had a little stumble, and that's what cost her the gold, pretty much. But
Yeah. Well, she's got 4. She'll be right.
yeah, she'll be right.
Yeah, no. She got bronze in women's beam.
Yeah.
This is what I was reading about, because they brought up a thing about should Olympians be forced to repay any of the money that's invested in them, especially if they perform poorly at the Olympics, right? It says Swimming Australia has received the most funding under the Australian Sports Commission's Winning Edge program.
Oh, the most boring one.
$38 million for the Olympic High Performance program over the last 4 years. Plus $3 million for athlete support grants, $4 million spent on performance enhancement teams. And the coach for swimming, the coaches, $500,000 and $400,000 annually.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Seriously. But like, and then you think about like the women's teams, like, you know, like say hockey, whatever the fuck it was, that get fuck all.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, dude, the endorsements, some of these Olympians, unless you're Michael Klim. Have you seen Klim's new endorsement?
Yeah, the new
cologne?
fragrance. It's called Klim.
Klim. The ad is so creepy, man.
Yeah, he's just like standing there in a suit looking over, like...
Yeah, from his back.
I actually thought of it. I thought of you when I was watching that ad. I was like, I
Why?
need to speak to Jim about this. That's disgusting.
It's so fucked up. Michael Klim has a new cologne. What does it smell like? Chlorine? Like, seriously?
It, like, comes out with a shampoo. It just, like, dries the hell out of your head.
Yeah, just white
Get
residue.
really bloodshot eyes after you use it.
Look like a drug addict. Because I know Michael Jordan's cologne was meant to smell like leather and sports shoes, like as in fresh leather and fresh sports shoes, like the ball.
Yeah.
That was the what's it?
The first thing I thought was the Klim thing, though. Like, where has Klim been? What's he been doing?
Wasn't he beating up his wife or something?
I don't know.
No, I'm serious. No, like, wasn't he, like, something was wrong.
Like, he was a swimmer.
Hackett had that really public meltdown.
Oh, yeah, he was on sleeping pills and shit.
He couldn't hack it.
Grant couldn't hack it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not making light of his situation. I'm just saying, like, I know Hackett was really in the public eye for ages. And then,
But Klim was relevant like years ago, right?
do you know what that reminds me of? They did an expose on Wayne Carey. Like, it was on one of the rubbish fucking shows, like, you know, The Current Affair or one of them. Yeah, they were just fucking tearing Wayne Carey apart, saying he's notoriously, like, you know, womanizer and an alcohol fucking drunk and, like, all that violent nut, all that shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, was he? Is he? Like, so I remember like all the shit in the news about him. But in the expose, they're like, he's always been known for his woman, like jumping from woman to woman. And like, first there was blah, blah, then there was her, then there was her. I'm like, hang on. They just named like his first missus, some bird he had an affair with, and then his next missus. That's 3 women.
Yeah.
Guys, they've pegged 3 birds to his name for the last 20 years.
But he's just a crap.
That makes him a sleazebag?
Yeah.
Like, really? I swear, that was the first thing that came in my head. I'm like, hang on. One's his first missus, then there's the bird he cheated with, and that was done and dusted, and then it's his next missus.
Sounds kind of normal to me.
That's pretty normal, man. You can judge him for whatever you want, but that doesn't make, like he's some sort of Lothario. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's opening up limousine doors every night, just fucking ushers in like these bags of babes. Like, yeah, what a sleaze bag. Like, dude, he just had a
broke up with his girlfriend and moved on. What?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. We were jumping around. But, that was an interesting thing about, should sports stars be forced to pay back, like, what is spent on them in their development? You know what I mean? Over time. Especially if they don't do well at the Olympics.
How are they going to pay it back?
Yeah. Like, most of these sports stars, man, like, once their careers are done, if they haven't, like, if they haven't performed exceeding, if they're not Muhammad Ali, you know, like, dancing in front of cameras for the rest of their lives, then what have they done?
Yeah, nothing.
Gotta get a normal job.
Like, I'm willing to bet that Ian Thorpe isn't even that well off at the moment.
Isn't he?
He's probably very wealthy, but I don't think he's, like, rolling in it. Like, I think he'd probably still be trying to get into the public eye.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what Thorpe's been doing for the last decade.
He went on a bit of a train wreck as well, right? On the drugs and shit.
I know he came out saying he was gay like a couple of years ago, just as he was releasing a book or something.
So how convenient, Thorpe.
Dude, we know you're gay. You've been gay for years. We've been trying to tell you you're gay. We don't care.
You guys hear about this story from the Olympic Village? 2 Brazilian divers will no longer compete together after one of them reportedly engaged in a marathon sex session in the athletes' village.
She was getting kept up at night because her roommate was banging some dude.
Yeah, so she just like locked her partner out aside. And, like,
So she wasn't getting any, so she was jealous.
So she's like, I'm swimming alone from now on. Like,
so Brazilian divers, good-looking birds.
Yeah.
And they got a picture of the canoeist, who's also in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So, like, we all know it. There's, people have a lot of fun in the Olympics.
Yeah,
Village.
man. Like, Rio's broken the record for Connie's handed out.
Yeah.
Like, in distribution. Sydney had like a shit number of Connies to hand out at the start, and they just got blitzed in the first couple of days. Like, fuck, we need reinforcements.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, you hear all these stories all the time about all these, you get these individuals that have, like, sacrificed everything they have to be there from the day they were born, you know, and they've done nothing but fucking work and work and work, and then they get to, like, this haven, utopia of nothing but fit fucking athletes. Everywhere you look, there's just trimmed, like, taut bodies. You're like, what the fuck?
People who literally don't have time to have, like, a partner.
No.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, some dude, like, won gold in the sprints or some shit? He's like, man, I could retire right now. I've got a gold medal.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it. I'll just come back to the village, just start boozing, getting on the drugs, like, losing his shit. Yeah, I'm done. Like, what else do you want? But
hey, question about the Olympics for you. Why is, like, there so much emphasis put on, like, one particular, like Usain Bolt? Like, why is his particular event, like, the most prestigious and famous, like, as opposed to other events?
Because no one gives a fuck about the water polo.
People have
Running's not that exciting. Like, I mean,
people have short attention spans.
Do you want to think?
Like, I find the gymnastics so much more
I'll tell you
entertaining
why.
than running.
I'll tell you why.
Gymnastics are gay.
Yeah.
Dude, those dudes are fucking strong as fuck.
Yeah,
like,
dude,
so
strong as an ox, man. You get some girl from, like, Uzbekistan carrying, like, her body weight on one finger. I'll tell you why. This is why I think. Because what Arthur said is because the people have got short attention spans, yeah? And the truth is, man, like,
9 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, what other sport can you put in a news segment than running?
And yeah, pretty much. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Think about it like this, yeah?
Any other sport, you get one athlete for 10 seconds, you don't know anything. You get one trick,
Yeah, think about water polo, right? Takes like strength. Like water polo, you got to have endurance. You're in the water, man. Like I can't paddle around for like 5 minutes without getting out of breath. These guys play full games, fucking throwing like the ball fast.
Intense,
It's
physical.
intense, man. It's more intense than rugby or anything because you're in water.
Yeah.
How do you move in water? Like you can't. Yeah. But no one knows shit about the water polo except for that one Aussie that got headbutted. He got punched in the face by a Brazilian. Yeah. And then they didn't call it on it. Like, yeah, whatever. Like the guy wasn't banned, nothing. Like, yeah, that's it. There was a big uproar about it. I died.
What's always been obvious to me is I'm a kayaker, and I got pretty good kayaking, but and in terms of rowing and kayaking, like rowing is just so much more money, much more funding, and it's an almost identical sport.
Yeah, comparative.
The rowers do. We paddle on the same track.
Yeah.
And it's almost the same distance and almost the identical speed. Like there's a couple of 1 or 2 seconds at the end of a K. And rowing just gets so much more attention than kayaking.
Yeah, man. I think it's because of that, because of attention span, man. And it's not relatable where everyone can just fucking run from their front door to the milk truck down the road. And everyone just thinks like the fastest. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing.
Fair enough.
When you were a kid, it's always like, I'm faster than you. I'm bigger
Catch
than
me
you.
if you can.
Yeah. I'm bigger than you. I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you,
Yeah. And swimmers get paid a lot of attention because Australia does really well with swimmers.
Yeah, if you go, dude, that's as well. Like, if you go to Africa, no one gives a fuck about the swimming. There are no swimmers. You know what I mean? If you go to Russia, all the focus is on, like, gymnastics, powerlifting, like, shit like that. No one gives a fuck about, golf in Russia.
And America has always done really poorly in gymnastics.
No.
So I think last Olympics was the first time they won a gold, and then they've it's just raining gold on American gymnasts at the moment. Like,
you know what I used to say about Russians? Because I had an ex-girlfriend from years ago who was Russian. She had a gymnast background as well. She was actually pretty good at one point and gave it up for whatever reason. Every time, like, when the Olympics were on and I was, like, at a joint or something, she like, got really interested in it. And then I started laughing because, like, we were watching some gymnast final, right? And this guy from the Ukraine or whatever, like, fucked up, came second, like, fuck something, It's just quiet, on his bench. And I'm like, you know what's sad? Like, any country in the world, like, even if he came fourth, any country in the world, that guy would be like a national hero for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But this poor bastard is just going to get put on the bus, sent to Siberia because he failed.
Not good enough.
Yeah, because the Russian. It was just fucking sad. I was like, that's so fucked up.
There was this little thing on Facebook, like, why the Chinese are so good at gymnastics, and it has, like, a whole bunch of photos of them training the kids, like...
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing it,
like, kids are crying and they're forcing their arms back past that, like, stretchable part, like, all shit like that.
Just, increasing their, the flexibility.
Just with an iron fist, like, fucking, you will do that and you will do well.
But, man, there are, like, you gotta understand...
happens in ballet,
ballet's
Australia.
fucked. Yeah, ballet's fucked up. But you gotta understand, like, countries like, say, China, or, like, even poorer, like, third world countries, like, big time, they put all their focus in, like, their athletes... Because that could be their only shot.
Yeah.
Their only shot. Only shot to, like, get some form of redemption or, like, a way out is to do that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that's your only asset, then you're going to protect that fucking asset and put everything you have into it.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, like, marathon runners from,
Kenya.
poorer part Kenya and, Ethiopia. Like, anyone can run. And they do it without shoes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what else are they going to... It's not like they can go out and, like... go to the local water polo ring. Like, I mean, anyone in the world, doesn't matter how poor you are, can go out for a run. And that's,
they have no swimming pools, man. There was a swimmer, I can't remember who he was, from a couple of years ago, and he said, I can't remember which African nation it was, but he said in his home country, he didn't have an Olympic-sized swimming pool. He swam, like, a total of, like, 10 meters or something.
I remember that guy,
Back and forth.
But now, because of him, they've got, like, near Olympic grade swimming pools.
Oh. I think it was the Sydney Olympics where someone qualified from some country, and it was a big deal because it was like a feel-good story. But yeah, used to swim in a river.
That dude. It's that dude. Yeah.
And it's funny, you've got like every swimmer is white, like clean-shaven, snug Speedos, and this guy gets up and he's all like, hairy, short, a little bit fat, and like baggy Speedos. Like, you do not belong up there. But yeah.
wrong dude. 3 doors down, man.
and he did really badly, but he finished the race.
The Death Becomes Her line. This I finally realised what it was. Yeah, because someone was saying to me, "You look exhausted. You look fucked. Like, are you all right? You need a holiday. Blah 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 blah." And I just straight away just said, "If you watch Death Becomes Her," he's like, "Yeah, I have. Yeah. Okay, do you remember the final scene in that movie? He's like, go to the funeral, Bruce Willis's funeral." I was like, "Oh yeah, the funeral." I feel like that scene when they walk out onto the steps and they take a stack, hit the ground, and their bodies just fucking fall apart. You haven't seen it, have you, Arthur?
No.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
You know when they just like
ago.
all the limbs they just become like rubble. Like it's not like human body parts. They just look like material waste, like just trash. Like they're just whatever, and just gonna get swept along. That's how my body feels.
That's where you're at
right now, because I'm that overtired and that fucking just exhausted. And go like, you need like a long holiday, go mate. I feel like I'm gonna just get out of my car one day, take a stack, like
just crumble.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna hit the deck. That's it, man. Just sweep them along,
Scrape them off the pavement, boys.
Yeah, that's what I was babbling on about at the start. Fuck, I think my drugs are wearing off. I have the worst headache, man. I have seriously got the worst headache right now.
Why are you scratching at your arms like that?
Dude. That's what I was going to ask you about. What do you guys think? Because I remember this point was raised when I was in high school. 2000 Olympics, Sydney. Yeah?
Mm.
The gold medal design. Yeah? The Sydney 2000 Olympics, on the front of the medal, on the back of the medal, there was, I think, the Opera House or the Sydney Harbour Bridge, right? Mm-hmm. On the back of it. And on the front of it, there's a picture of like a Greek goddess, I can't remember who it was, yeah, holding like a wreath, like the original wreath thing. And then there was a picture of the Colosseum in the background from Rome. Rome, yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, and I remember like, I didn't know about it, and then my Greek teacher in high school, like, he brought it up. He's like, it's a fucking game. Like, these cunts are just fucking with us. Like, and they created controversy because they put a Roman icon on what has always been a traditionally Greek fucking thing.
Yeah.
What do you think that was? Like, my Greek teacher lost it. He lost his shit because he's like, it's like a conspiracy. Like,
someone who didn't bother to check Google, probably.
Yeah, no shit. Do you reckon that was done intentionally, or how could you literally flub like something like that, man?
People have done worse things.
No, people have done a lot worse. But I'm just saying, like, this is a gold medal at the Olympics. Like, surely, like, spell check something.
That's going to be something that's going to get checked. Like,
but it's just one of those things where, where you see like a company logo or a saying and you're like, that's a penis. You see them?
Yeah. Disney. The cover
Disney
of
cartoons,
Disney cartoons, man. There's all phallic kind of
imagery. Yeah, but I think that's probably deliberate. Where you've got like some, I don't know, where the famous one of where it's supposed to be a small kid praying in front of a priest.
Oh yeah,
and
it looks like he's giving him head. Yeah,
yeah, like stuff like that where just no one realizes, or maybe they realize and they're too ashamed to say. Like,
I look at it probably more like
they were trying to stir something up.
Yeah,
dude, the Colosseum,
like a slap in the face.
Colosseum.
So wait, does the Colosseum tie in with the Olympics at all?
No, man. The Olympics are a Greek thing.
Like, did they have Olympic events there or whatever? Like,
it's got nothing to do.
It would be way before.
If it had any connection, what has it got to do with Sydney, Australia?
Yeah.
No,
that bugs me.
How fucked up is that?
Sounds like a bit of a slap in the face.
Yeah, I just remembered it because I was looking at something about the